Submit to the High Council here on World Class Bullshitters. I'm your host, Jeff Hicks, and with me tonight is Mecha Random 42.
Hello.
We're also joined by Tom from Midnight's Edge After Dark.
Hail, Fandom Menace.
Also from Midnight's Edge After Dark, as well as his own channel, Robot Shlomo.
Mazel tov!
And finally, our special guest for this evening. We had him once before. He was a fantastic guest. He brings a lot of energy, and we're excited to have him. You know him, you love him. His name is author Stephen Walton.
Hail, Jeff Hicks, my brothers and sisters in the chat. Welcome once again to this sacred place, this hallowed ground of the High Council where we have met every week for the last 2 years, every Tuesday night on the flagship channel of the Fandom Menace, World Class Bullshitters, to come commiserate, to fight for our modern mythologies together. Your Fandom Menace historian, the Fandom Menace historian born in the chats with you, my brothers and sisters. I ask of you to say with me, all hail the High Council.
I don't even know why I bother doing intros. That thing just blew me out of the water.
You're channeling Nature Boy Ric Flair there for a while.
Well, thanks, Rob.
Woo!
Woo!
So, folks, we got a lot of stuff to cover tonight. No super big announcements to make, but we do have some Star Wars news. So, since we've last met, it has been announced that Tamara Morrison is joining the Mandalorian Season 2 as Boba Fett. There's a rumor that Katie Sackhoff might be joining as one of these Mandalorian female warriors. And there's another rumor that Grand Admiral Thrawn himself might be a part of Season 2 of The Mandalorian. So,
Really? I haven't heard that one.
yeah, it's just popping up. Again, these are rumors we're discussing. Obviously, none of us have this insider insight. So let's start with the Boba Fett news. Mecca, what did you think of when you heard the Boba Fett news?
My first thought was that they're kind of using this for member berries and nostalgia because he's such a recognizable sort of, Star Wars geek cred sort of character. So it just seems like, oh, here you go, another entry in the Star Wars apology tour, basically, to quote Rob and Tom.
Speaking of Rob, what did you think?
I'm just glad that that they didn't decide to gender swap the character and rename him Boba Fett. So I mean, no, really.
Yet
they've been kind of hinting at Boba Fett returning for a while, haven't they? So it really didn't take me by surprise any. And I like Tamara Morrison; he's a cool guy. Yeah, he's made some really good movies. So
yeah,
okay, fine, all right, I'm good with it.
Tom,
I think you're watching American Graffiti.
what?
I said I think you're watching American Graffiti with all the cars drag racing.
Oh, I'm living it, okay?
Hey, they call that a field car. You know what a field car does? Spread shit around the field.
Nah, I mean, am I surprised? No. If it's true, that is. Do I care? Not that much. I don't have a Boba fetish, as I've said before. I get why he's cool. But do I personally care? Not much. The only thing that kept me on board of The Mandalorian was the same thing that kept Mecca on board for the most part, and that was Baby Yoda.
Baby Yoda.
So, I mean, all these additions to the cast and all this stuff aren't really doing anything, in my personal opinion, to entice me to the second season. I mean, outside of what's-her-face coming in as Ahsoka, I just lost
Rosario
her name.
Dawson.
Rosario Dawson, thank you. Which, that's just because of who she is, not so much because of Ahsoka. I could care less, I just think it was, she's a great actress. So that's the only thing I care about there. Otherwise, okay. I've never been a big fan of the whole Boba Fett didn't die in the Sarlacc pit business either. So that's about my take on it.
Author Stephen Walton, what was your take?
I think there's a lot to unpack with this. If the rumors are true of there being an internal war between a Favreau faction and a Kennedy faction, I think the introduction of Boba Fett, which The Mandalorian, from what we understand, was actually originally supposed to be the Boba Fett movie, and they changed it to a Disney Plus program, and so they just changed a few things around and make it Boba Fett. I think bringing Boba Fett in is, to my mind, what I believe that Favreau is doing, if this division is true, is trying to bring back the legacy fans, trying to cater to the legacy fandom, the ones that Kathleen Kennedy wanted to kick out, the 50-somethings, the old school fandom, the ones who were the customers of the product. And I think he's trying to not only service them. Now, an argument can be made that too much is being brought into The Mandalorian and that The Mandalorian itself should be able to hold on its own. But by bringing elements in from that remind the legacy fandom of what Star Wars used to be, and if it is successful, that will give Favreau the ability to point to Chapek or Iger and say, hey, look, this makes money. This Kennedy stuff doesn't. That's what I think.
I'm with you about there's a lot to unpack. When I discuss my thoughts and stuff on the Star Wars stuff, it's not always coming from a point of negativity just to get clicks and stuff like that. When I first heard the Boba Fett news, my question was why? Because it's nothing to do with him dying or not dying in the Sarlacc pit. It's what does Boba Fett being a part of this show add? We finally have something that is a creation of Disney that works. It was the Mandalorian looks enough like Boba Fett that people kind of bought in. He looks cool. Baby Yoda, we call him Baby Yoda. It's not even his name. We bought into that too. But now the identity that they've crafted for themselves with the Mandalorian is sort of being muddled by just trying to throw in more and more and more. I don't think we had enough of the Mandalorian. I personally had enough of Baby Yoda for the sake of the story, but I don't think that his journey had reached a point where it's like when you have one of these sitcoms from the 80s and they introduce a new little kid, like when Nikki got introduced to Family Ties or stuff like that. It's like you're trying to keep the show going. You need some fresh blood. You need something. Mandalorian has had 8 episodes. Some would argue it's the greatest Star Wars thing ever. Some would say it's the worst. I would say it's had some great episodes and some bad episodes. But I don't think this, to me, long story short, this seems like a lifeline. They're desperately clinging to something. So what can we do? Let's get Boba Fett. Let's get Katie Sackhoff. Let's get Ahsoka. Let's get possibly Thrawn. Mm-hmm. And now it's just like you have this nice meal presented, and now you just have a jumbled mess of a plate, and you're trying to pick through what works, what goes together, X, Y, and Z. And my main concern is just why? I want people in the chat to tell me tonight, what is a good purpose to have Boba Fett outside of, it's Boba Fett? Because he's one of my favorite characters. I'm not ripping on him to rip on him. I just don't think he fits.
Well, they haven't ruined him yet.
Two words, mirror match.
Member berries. That's what I was thinking. It's just member berries. I kind of use it kind of like the cage with the Big Bang Theory. It's one of those sort of Big Bang Theory references that every entry level, fan can kind of get into. And they're like, yes, I know Boba Fett. That's like a really cool character, right? I'm supposed to like Boba Fett. So it's like, it's going to appeal to even kind of the more normies who think they're really, really hardcore Star Wars fans, I guess. But yeah, I don't know. I'm with you though. Like, what does it bring to the table, really?
Well, I mean, I am a hardcore Fett fan. I buy the figures and the dolls and all that other shit.
That's why.
The character. But I am.
There you go, Jeff.
That's exactly why Boba Fett's in this. You just said it right there.
To get the fans that might not be completely on
merchandising,
board.
Merchandising.
Come on over.
Also, look at what Baby Yoda, which just gave you an inkling of Yoda. The Yoda species. That kind of brought some interest to older fans too. And that example, I think, is leading into the idea of, all right, let's introduce more stuff that maybe legacy fans will enjoy. But Jeff, you're right. They presented a decent enough meal in The Mandalorian, in my opinion. Good episodes, bad episodes. They brought in maybe some of the old fans to watch this show. And I think they are trying to compact too much into this show. But again, I think that it has to do with maybe starting out something that Solo was supposed to do, a standalone movies, a bunch of movies that are interconnected with one another. I could be trying to do that with a TV series, but also if the rumors of there being infighting in Lucasfilm are true, then what would show up what Kathleen Kennedy's story group has given us crap more than a very, very successful series that has attachments to legacy fandom.
I agree with that point. And also, though, when you have Boba Fett, you also have to talk about Ahsoka, which I feel like it's just too much. Again, what does she have to do? Because she's a big deal to some people. Maybe not as much as me as other people, like a Jeremy who really loves Ahsoka. But she is one of the she's like the main Clone Wars character that really came over to the mainline Star Wars in terms of like fandom. Like people accepted Ahsoka. I think she popped up in Rebels. She's this character that people actually enjoy. And in a way, putting her and Boba Fett and Thrawn and Katie Sackhoff's Mandalorian character, it's like, when do they actually get time? Are they just going to be small cameos? Because it's like the old Batman show. Maybe they're climbing up the wall and Jerry Lewis is popping out the window or some shit. That's a cool throwback. But is that really going to be good for the sake of the show?
I couldn't tell you that. I mean, they had kind of encapsulated episodes within the Mandalorian itself within that first season. So it could be just a character showing up for an episode for just one story arc, maybe not the main arc itself. But another thing that I was thinking about was introducing, Ahsoka, Rosario Dawson, pretty much is accepted by most people. Katie Sackhoff, who's already been through basically the proto SJW garbage when she was in Battlestar Galactica because of her gender swap with Starbuck with Dirk Benedict. So I mean, she's already proven herself to me. She really didn't go that SJW back then. Not that was a term then, but the idea was there. I would like to see Favreau presenting strong female characters without having to virtue signal, just having them presented on the story alone. And as far as Ahsoka, I mean, that's Filoni's pet. So we're gonna see her at some point.
That's another problem I do have, though, because she should have died. I mean, I know a lot of people are like, she's so great, she's awesome. Look, she's fucking dead by Rise of Skywalker. People say, well, no, she's not. Why is her voice with all the other dead Jedi? I mean, that's, to me, just more crap. It's convoluted crap, if I can say it like that. It's like, well, we can't kill her. She should die in the Jedi Purge, but Dave Filoni likes her. Well, we can't have Darth Vader kill her because I don't even know. Do kids like Ahsoka? Is Ahsoka popular with the kids? She gets a figure every once in a while, but she's not, one of the mainstays of the...
No, you said it, Jeff. She is the person to get that fan group on board. That's that generation. This Boba Fett casting is to get not only the prequel generation kids on board, but the original people on board because it's Boba Fett. And this right here is a prime example, like you were saying. This is why they're doing this. All these characters you just mentioned is because this is all they've got. This came out today, folks.
Yeah.
Oh.
I got mine in the mail today.
I hate you.
I know, she's so pissed.
Floating in a pod, Baby Yoda.
This is just the regular plush one. The animatronic one don't come out till Christmas. They've got so much Baby Yoda shit coming out. You can't tell me that this whole that's all they see when they look at this Mandalorian thing is merchandising. What did you say, Jeff? Sorry.
Well, that's all I see about it. Same thing with Porgs. I mean, that's why I kind of have a soft spot for Porgs because, well, okay, that's something I specifically wanted was something cute in Star Wars to kind of go along with my love for Yoda, something to go along with my love for Ewoks, and yeah, Porgs did it for me. So
I mean,
I can't really be upset with them for that. So same thing with Baby Yoda. That's exactly the type of thing I wanted.
But you know what? To go back to what Stephen Walton said, if this proves that, hey, this stuff makes money, and Kathleen Kennedy, yours doesn't. I mean, you know what? Great. I am fully in favor of turning on the fan and just blowing a nice big fart in Kathleen Kennedy's direction.
Well, they're everybody's babies. It's funny. This is Bob's baby on screen here.
George's grandson.
And Ahsoka is Dave Filoni's baby.
Well, now Kathleen Kennedy,
Fett,
somebody was saying that Kathleen Kennedy was trying to take credit for Baby Yoda now.
Oh yeah. Kathleen Kennedy can go suck a cock when it comes to Baby Yoda. You know damn well she had nothing to do with that.
Yeah, she's too busy making Mary Ray Palpatine a thing.
Exactly. And Boba Fett is kind of like George's baby because that was the character he pushed after Star Wars, and he's kind of encapsulates the whole idea of toys. So that's what, to me, that's all I smell out of this whole entire thing. And I believe every bit of it because it smells more and more like the Star Wars apology tour.
Oh, it's shite. It's definitely shite, Tom. I mean, they're having to make up for how much of a mess that they've left over the last how many years. And I'm not disputing that. And I'm not even going to argue with any fans who are at this point so berated, so attacked, so dissed. The geeks of yesteryear that hung out together and talked about Star Trek and Star Wars and things like that because the mainstream didn't accept them. The cool kids at school didn't accept them. And then the cool kids took over the franchises and started kicking those geeks out. Their refuge, kicking out of their own refuge. So if you are one of those people, I completely understand just not even giving into any of this. But But like you're saying, I really do. But it is kind of an apology tour. But this really hinges on whether or not there is, in my opinion, some kind of an infight, some kind of a civil war going on at Disney Lucasfilm.
I believe
there clearly is. Look
now-
at Leslie Headland. I mean,
See now, Raptor Jesus is asking, how is continuing to give Disney money helping the Phantom Menace? Here's the thing. You want to reward stuff you like by giving it your money. The people who say, "Oh, I love this. I love that show." Oh, funny how it got canceled. I downloaded I torrented every single episode. Okay, that doesn't do anything. Okay, listen, you want to reward the stuff you like by throwing money at it. Okay,
that one on top there, don't buy it. It's not worth it. I posted on last week.
I want that though.
That's that little not even inch high.
Well, yeah, that's like my porgs. I've got the very same.
It is not 6
yeah,
inches. I don't know why the fuck it says it is. It is not,
because it's in that scale to scale with the 6-inch Black Series
Yeah,
figures.
it's so tiny. That little BB that it comes, or the little knobby jobby that it comes with, is smaller than a BB for a BB gun.
Yeah, look how tiny my Black Series porgs are.
I mean, Tom, the claim of something being 6 inches has been around forever.
Compared to Starburst for they're tiny.
Yeah, ever since white men have walked the earth, that
Well,
claim is-
real quick, this website, Big Bad Toy Store, it's my preferred site to buy toys.
I
no
do too.
plug.
Yeah,
But look they have a Mandalorian the child section. Other Star Wars characters don't have their own section, but this goddamn green thing is so beloved right now. Look at this, $59.99 for the animatronic edition.
yep. And that one
Wow.
doesn't
Every
go
one
until
of them.
Christmas.
I want
You
every
got-
one of them.
You can get there's a fucking Chia Pet of the Mandalorian.
I want every
Baby
one
Yoda.
of them. I've already
kinda
got all
want
Baby
that.
Yoda in my well, at least as much as I can with the posters that I have so far in the living room. It's all Yoda and Baby Yoda.
Actually, the only thing I'm considering buying Star Wars related actually is an original movie poster print, a 27 by 40 print to put in a frame, just because I kind of have to have movie posters of the movies that I really like.
I have
But-
one on the wall right in front of me that is actually closer to the original release than it is now. It was the 94 prints. I was asking you, Jeff, if those are the ones you got.
I think so.
Yeah, probably.
But all of this is officially merchandise, officially licensed stuff.
Yeah, this is directly.
yeah, this is all
It's
official.
all the
Now
stuff
check
they
this out.
scrambled to make.
I've never seen this. Monopoly, Star Wars, The Mandalorian, the Child Edition. This damn
Baby
thing
Yoda
has.
Holy
It'll
cow!
go over better than feminist Monopoly.
You tell me this was
Holy-
they were hiding this bullshit. They had no
Holy-
idea what
really?
they
No,
had.
they just made this stuff. We know that.
Yeah.
We're not dumb.
This
Well,
is like-
Tom, to jump off the point, I agree with you. Look at the stuff they actually do produce for Baby Yoda, though. A Monopoly board, let's be honest, you can probably produce a Monopoly board in a week.
everything's got its
own.
own Monopoly board.
Yeah. It was, but the format is you go into Photoshop, you create the assets, you layer the assets in a template, which already has guidelines and stuff. So you already know the size you're going to do. These little game pieces are paper game pieces. They're not even metal game pieces like all the other Monopoly. Look, they have that little
that's
stand at the
crap.
bottom. So this
I
cheap
think-
crap.
Didn't they get rid of all the metal pieces? From
No, the
Monopoly
Godzilla
anyway?
one does. That's coming out in a couple of months.
No,
here.
I think Jeff's right. I think this was thrown together. Yeah, I think all this stuff was. I don't think that the licensees wanted this thing anyway. They looked at it and they saw shades of Jar Jar, like I said.
Right.
I got a picture of that little Black Series Baby Yoda down there. It kind of sucks because it's all zoomed in. I can't zoom out any more than that. But as you can see, just from the size of my fingers there, how tiny that bastard is.
Yeah, it's about the size of my boards.
Like that thing is not like my thumb is bigger than it.
Oh yeah, that's tiny. Yeah.
It is tiny as shit, and it does not have nearly the detail either that they have on the websites.
But
Well, Mecca's going to buy it.
But,
I'm not
here-
gonna buy
here-
it. I'm not buying stuff. I want it, but I don't really.
Ah.
Yeah, I'm
Here-
not really
here's the-
buying a whole lot of stuff anymore.
Here's the thing, though. I said I don't know who said this. You might have said it, Jeff. Doomcock might have said. I don't know who said this. But I'll give credit to you if you did. Even if you didn't, just because I'm on the High Council right now.
I like the way you operate.
Does the Mandalorian fix Star Wars? No.
No.
Is it a step in the right direction? Yes. Okay. This is the kind of stuff we should have been getting. And if you don't want to give your money to the to Disney, okay, that's your prerogative. Okay, I'm not going to begrudge what people spend money on, strippers. But at the same, yeah, Pornhub. But at the same time, like I said, there's that line from Grand Theft Auto Vice City. It's not enough to like something; you got to throw money at it. And we want to reward them for having good stuff. I want to buy more Star Wars stuff. I want to buy another version of Star Wars, a 4K remaster, but I don't want to because I feel dirty right now.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to unless there is a significant change. You think I don't want to buy anything Star Trek related? No. I love Star Trek. I love Star Trek since I was 4 years old. It pains me to hate it.
Yeah.
I do not want to hate this stuff. And if they can it's going to take a long time to win the trust of the fans back.
And
it's so much easier. Yeah, it's so much easier to destroy than it is to create or repair. But at the same time, hey guys, Favreau, Filoni, Deborah Chow, Aluminium Associate, if you can keep this up, okay, you know what? I'm willing to give you the benefit of the doubt. I'm willing to at least listen. That's the thing here.
And Rob, you are exactly the type of person like me, because I'm in the same camp as you, that this is pitching to. Because the hardcore, especially the OT purists, but the hardcore fans have left the building. There's no consumer confidence in any of these products, and the people making these products know it. They know they're taking a risk every time they make something from Star Wars. I think maybe one of the reasons that we didn't get the kind of products we should have gotten, like when the Mandalorian first came out, was probably because of resistance from Kennedy. She doesn't want to see something she doesn't really have her claws in to succeed.
I don't buy that as much because everybody said that, but we got toys right away. I think the farther along we get, I think it's more so the licensees weren't sure that this thing was going to sell. Mm-hmm. I don't think they thought that they didn't know what they had on their hands with Baby Yoda. Yeah. I really think they were afraid of it. I really think they're like, oh no, the fans are going to turn against this shit. Yeah. And now KK might have fostered that kind of idea. I'm not going to argue.
I can see a situation where the licensees are sitting back. Okay, let's see what happens. We're not going to commit right now.
Because we got a Boba Fett doll, we got an IG-88 doll, but now, like Jeff just pointed out here, we got a whole page, and he's not even done yet.
3 pages. Three
pages. God. 3 pages of Baby Yoda material. You tell me the licensees were on board right
Look
away.
At this, though, Tom. $60.
I'm not saying that directly to you, Steven, but yeah.
Look at this. A 4-pack Mandalorian the Child cardboard cutouts, set of 4, in stock, $59.99.
Oh yeah,
cardboard.
That's why I said that little doll ain't worth it either. But this is how they work, folks, and they think that since it has Star Wars, they got something hot now.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. But I've never seen Star Wars be this desperate to be commercial, because
it just shows you how popular it is, though. But go ahead, sorry.
Oh no, you're 100% right. It does show how popular it is, but it also shows how this was like Star Wars again, the original film with Christmas 77. There's no Star Wars toys. Get the board game, get this, get that. The toys will be out next year.
You got the coupon.
Yep.
and
Exactly.
and the promise of toys.
And that's what this was. The licensees probably looked at it and said, "We don't know how to sell this. Who are we selling this to? Girls? Boys aren't going to be into this." But what they didn't realize is that everybody was going to fall in love with this baby, whether you like it or not. I walk down the street with my Baby Yoda t-shirt, and I get so many oohs and ahs and coos and where did you get your shirt over every time. It never fails. 4 or 5 times at least every time I go out with that shirt on.
Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni have done something brilliant. They've created something that is impossible for you to hate unless you're Kathleen Kennedy.
Or Ryan Cannell.
Or Ryan Johnson.
Or Sporking News Podcast.
No, Baby Yoda has his haters out there. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he's going to get old real quick, too, though. That's the thing with Baby Yoda. He's going to get really
the other
old
problem, with the second season, and that's why they're adding Boba Fett. That's why they're adding Ahsoka. Yeah, see, there's Ryan right there. I invited you on, motherfucker. You said you couldn't make it.
In the words of Shakespeare, ye who snoozeth, dost be thou.
No, he had shit to do, he said, but Yeah. Yeah.
Look at all the sold out stuff from the Baby Yoda.
Look already, Jesus. Well, that's the
Wow.
stuff. See, there's what you see. All that stuff is kind of the stuff that came out right away. Stuff they could print on their own. This goes along with the Star Trek stuff that we always do.
This sold out a life-size child figure for $400.
What?
How? What is the life size?
And not
It's
only that,
basically a life-size, screen-accurate
Is it-
Baby Yoda
Is
It
it
says
life size
limited-
for what?
from
Oh my
Baby Yoda,
God!
like 1-to-1
it's limited to per customer at that. That's the other
Wow.
fucking part that really.
Look at that.
I'm supposed to get one. I don't know if it's going to ever come, but yeah, somebody said they ordered me one, but
I'm not paying $350 for that.
I know shit, right? And look,
The only thing I
the
was-
hype for the baby won't live long. That's what I was saying. That's why they're adding Boba Fett. That's why they're adding Ahsoka and all these other characters. Sorry.
The only thing I was going to willingly pay $350 for was when we were at Star Trek Las Vegas and somebody had a screen accurate Captain America shield.
Closest
And I
I've ever
just-
spent on this is my Gremlin fucking life-sized replica puppet thing. And that was 149, I think.
well, I have my screen accurate Fizz gig that's life size. So
And that was what, roughly 100 and
it was like 150.
yeah, about the same as my Gremlin then. Yeah.
I mean, the man who makes the best Star Wars toy videos is on this panel. Jeff, what do you think? Is the bottom going to fall out of this, or what's going on?
Eventually, I think the bottom will fall out. There's a difference, though, Stephen. Before, when all the Star Wars merchandise that I was cataloging or chronicling just sitting on shelves, that was that glut from 2015, Force Friday 2015. Hey, guys, look at all these characters you know and love. And nobody really knew them. And eventually, nobody came to love them. But then you fast forward to now where this is a year late. I mean, The Mandalorian came out, what, 7 months ago? So,
yeah, like November.
exactly.
So I think the Baby Yoda stuff, my take isn't a bunch of shit that's going to sit on shelves yet. Initially, people will buy through it. As we see, there is a sold out section. I mean, a $350 doll sold out. That's pretty impressive, especially for a sideshow thing. You can get old shit on sideshow that won't never sell out. But with this, I think you have 1 or 2 more seasons of it. And maybe if they want to really make Baby Yoda the icon of this show, maybe they put, I thought it would have been smart from a story standpoint to leave him on that planet with that lady and then never see Baby Yoda again. To me, that's when the wheels started turning at Disney. They're like, well, we can make some real money off of this. So the lifeline of Baby Yoda is season 3, and that's it. And hopefully they don't try to one-up it with more cutesy crap. I like the character. I think it works. I like the connection the Mandalorian has with Baby Yoda. But if we go, season 6 or 7, and he's still carrying this little thing around in a pod, it's just like, yo, you are a babysitter. You're not even a bounty hunter anymore, dude. Yeah.
The one important note about Baby Yoda and why it's so critical to get rid of him is he's only ever going to be an object or a prop. He's 50 years old. He's a baby. There's
Right.
no way in the timeline of the show that they can actually age him, and turn him into something. He can't have an arc. He can't grow. He's just going to be this baby the whole time. So you're harming yourself. You're limiting your options by hankering your main character with this. You're saddling him with this object, basically this burden that isn't going to add anything new.
Unless he's a growth accelerated clone.
Unless Baby Yoda's hit puberty at 51, and all of a sudden he's
Well, then it would be like that fucking joke in that joke trailer. Then Jesse, did you see that, Jesse? That joke trailer?
Did you see what are you asking her here?
The joke trailer they had. Did you see that?
I did not.
No, is it where Baby Yoda gets shot?
No, it was was it IGN that released it?
IGN,
Yeah, they got a lot of. It was like a month after fucking April Fools, and they released this trailer. They dropped it as the Mandalorian season true trailer, and it had
the 420 joke.
yeah, the
That's why.
420. That's when it was. Yeah,
That was so dumb.
Yeah.
I watched it now.
yeah. I don't think they'll go that route. I think they're smart in a sense that they know this character, like you guys were just saying, is not gonna outlast the cuteness factor is not gonna last forever. So that's why they're adding Boba Fett, Ahsoka, all these other characters. Baby Yoda is going to become like a side character or side note, or the fact that he's a Jedi and he exists and that kind of a thing is going to become
It'd
part
be
of
great
the.
if they just dump him off somewhere in episode 1 of season.
They might.
There you go.
I don't know. Well, I doubt that soon.
What if Baby Yoda starts talking and we find out the original Yoda had a speech impediment?
That'd be funny.
Or he was just doing it on purpose.
Yeah.
Well, Mecca and I have joked the whole time that he's kind of
Probably
fucking
can
with
talk.
us, and he probably can talk.
Yeah.
Tourette's I have.
Or it takes them a while to learn like the people language, you know?
Yeah, I have a feeling he'll at least have a few words by season 2, if not. Yeah.
Like Jesse was saying, yeah, I mean, you're right. It's going to eventually become an anchor. We don't really know the background on the kid as far as I know. I mean, I watched the whole series. I didn't really see anything. But what if he's a growth accelerated clone of some kind? What if by season 3 he's like what he would be at 200?
Well, they said he's 50. Well, they said he's 50 years old. So I mean, and they even said what was it, in episode 1? They said different species age at different rates.
Yeah.
So I don't think he's a growth accelerated clone.
Well, what they
But-
have to do to get a lot of people who that you have people who hate him just because they hate him, and then you have the other people who are upset because they don't have any answers yet about the character, and that's what they got to do in season 2 is give them people the answers that they're looking for, so they can accept the character a little bit more. And that's the other thing, if they do start having him talk, like Jesse was just saying, he will become a little bit more than a prop, hopefully, then, as far as like, you know, and it also takes that cuteness factor up to an 11 then, because not only do you have a go ahead, Jesse.
His word is going to be Mama, and that's short for Mandalorian.
That's what I'm saying is they'll start giving him words, and he'll start talking, and that'll up the cuteness factor to 11. That'll give him another season, and then I think you're right, Jeff. Season 3 it'll start to taper off because there's no way this is a Ninja Turtles, okay? Because the difference is those guys, they all knew, or at least they thought they knew from the very start, that this Ninja Turtle thing, it has a 3-year window. There's a video out there of them talking to the Playmates guys, and that's exactly what they tell them. They're like, guys, we got a 3-year window on this if we want to cash in. It's basically exactly what he said.
Here we are.
30-some years later.
40 years later.
Yeah, 40 years later now.
By the way, folks, we have over 1,100 watching, so do me a favor, hit that thumbs up button if you're enjoying the stream to, let us know that you like the High Council and you love what we do. But I'm with you guys on all of these points. I'm in a weird place, though. Is the guy who really just gutturally hates a lot of the Disney crap, I'm just okay. But I've always asked with this stuff, and I keep asking myself, is The Mandalorian really that great of a show, or is it better than what we've gotten? And that is why people elevate it and talk about it the way they do, because it's more of a. What did you say?
It's the turd
Eddie
sandwich.
Murphy's cracker.
Oh,
Eddie Murphy's cracker.
Yeah.
And no regular cracker.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
it's a turd.
If you're starving, someone throws you a cracker. God, that's the best cracker I've ever had. That was rich, wasn't it? Yeah. Hey,
he is
so
so
regular old crackers.
Yeah, the Mandalorian is the turd sandwich as compared to the bucket of shit that we've been getting. Really, what it is, and there is a little bit of desperation, I think, in any fan. I think some of those Baby Yoda toys are being bought by parents who have desperately wanted to get behind something Disney Star Wars has done and hasn't been able to, and finally, there's something that they can mildly get behind and get for their kids, or create any kind of attachment with the original trilogy. I mean, just the and that's about it. Disney has lost a lot of their hardcore fan base with intention, from Kathleen Kennedy's own mouth. Get rid of the 50-somethings, and now they're going to have to really woo everyone back, and they're going to throw the kitchen sink by the end of this Mandalorian series. And if it works, great, and if it doesn't, it's going to be one hell of a beautiful mess.
Well, I was about to say, Stephen, being a fan of the New York Knicks, I know desperation. So
let me put it this way, and this is how I know it's got to be basically the licensees that didn't know this was going to work, because I'm sure Disney was behind this 100%. Because look at Baby Groot, like that was a big deal for them. James Gunn knew exactly how to utilize him. He knew when to switch it up. Unlike the Baby Groot situation, though, Jesse's right. Unless you can kind of find a way to either get rid of the characters that people aren't going to be pissed, or keep him relevant within the story, or kind of a side character, however you want to do it to where you don't overdo it. That's all you can do at this point, because this is the Eddie Murphy scenario. Now, if this was the first thing we had gotten out the bat from Disney Star Wars, we'd have been like, okay, yeah, this is good, but show us something more. You know what I mean? We would have been like, yeah, it's all right. We would have had a few questions, but I don't think it would have been as big of a hit. And I also don't think it would have gotten as much pushback from those who really are just everything anti-Disney right now either. So,
well, but at the same time, Tom, it would have kept all the older fans on the treadmill.
well,
Yeah,
that's what I
it was-
mean. Exactly. That was my
Yeah.
point. Yeah, it would have been something that everybody would like, okay, let's get, and that was what they should have done in the first place. And you know, we've said that a million times, is they should have done more things like this to begin with to get themselves prepared for that big trilogy. So then, like right about now, we'd be seeing like the second episode of that trilogy, or we'd be gearing up for it. You know what I mean? Like that's where we should be at instead of like already past
Yeah.
it.
You know what part actually of The Mandalorian actually really felt like Star Wars? There was that one scene at the end of, I can't remember which episode it was, but the X-Wings were coming in to destroy that space station.
Well, there was a
Dave-
lot of stuff that felt
yeah.
like Star Wars. In it.
Well, yeah, I mean,
And that
was
to
actually,
answer Jeff's question, that was where I was going to get to, was like you have something here that feels like that cut or the cartoon scene from the Christmas special. Kind of, they're taking that kind of a vibe, that Western kind of vibe, and they're mixing it with Star Wars. Favreau knows what he's doing on that part. Now, it's had its ups and downs as far as like whether or not it's going to continue to be good. I don't know. You know, that's what I was getting at, though. Is you're right. This would have been something to keep the fans on board, and then they would have had time to plan the trilogy better. Because what we got now was basically a teenager on prom night who was just overly zealous and wanted to, you know, get to the business. And that's what Bob wanted. He just wanted to get to the business. He didn't want to fucking build something.
Well, I'm looking up, because you brought up a great parallel, Baby Groot. I'm looking up Baby Groot merchandise. For some reason, folks, my browser's acting really stupid. But over here on Amazon, let's see if this stuff has really held its value. No, Baby Groot is a clearance item. So we have Baby Groot originally $38 on sale for $23. We have Baby Groot, Dancing Baby Groot on sale for $20.
Which one?
It's him on like a little gray.
Him in the little planter. That was cute. I like that one. But
they got all these little Baby Groot things, and they're just I thought Baby Groot was cute the first time I saw it too. Then I saw the movie again and I realized, well, it's cool. It's an evolution. And we eventually got past that. But all of this cutesiness definitely has a shelf expiration date. Ewoks had it. Porgs had it. Baby Yoda's going to have it. Everything has it, because you can't. The thing is, without a solid story to back up the cute factor, to me feels like a stopgap measure.
Exactly, yeah.
Where it's like, oh, I'm bleeding out. Let me put this cute Band-Aid over my gushing wound, and hopefully I don't die and bleed out.
Exactly. Right. And that's what I was getting to, is you have to build on this character now. You have to do something else with it, or that's exactly what it's going to be, is just another.
Well, how much is it just for like the wine mom to put a pop figure on her desk? You know, because like, oh, I liked that Guardians of the Galaxy movie. I'll get the Baby Groot, because even I have Baby Groot figures. And
right,
that's the thing. Like, there's nothing wrong with having, you know, that sort of merchandise and that sort of aspect to appeal to a slightly broader audience. But you're absolutely right. You know, you got to do something a little bit more than it being cute, because even I can say, okay, yeah, Baby Yoda's cute, but I don't need to see it every 5 seconds.
Right.
And I love Baby Yoda, don't get me wrong.
At least Baby Groot pays off at the end with the whole, does anybody have tape?
Yeah.
I want to put something on the button.
Well, it's like Ryan Kindle just said, the reaction of The Mandalorian reminds me of the reaction of The Force Awakens. And that's true. It really does remind me of the reaction of The Force Awakens. A lot of people just didn't look deeply into the story. They were just happy to have Star Wars back and happy to see, you know, have the promise of Luke, you know, at the end of the story, and you know, seeing Han Solo and the Falcon again and all that. You know, when we get to The Mandalorian, we're happy to see something that resembles Star Wars, that isn't just like this convoluted mess of crammed together story ideas completely derailed by Rian Johnson and then tried to Frankenstein back together at the end. You know, we've been beaten over the head with this shit for so long. So yeah, I mean, another person in the chat said if the sequel trilogy had been good, The Mandalorian would be and I have to agree with that.
Yeah.
It's going to be really hard to pull back, you know, as I was saying before, it's going to be really hard to pull back a lot of the people that have already been cast away, which was the objective of Kathleen Kennedy, to fandom engineer her product, to get rid of the consumer base and create a new one. Well, they're not paying the same kind of money that the loyalists that have been around for decades do.
I think she just legit honestly thought that there was going to just be all of the Star Wars fans, like the old, 40-year-old white dude sort of fan base, or 50-year-old white dudes were going to just buy the stuff indefinitely because it's Star Wars. And the Big Bang Theory says that those fans just buy everything. So
No.
I think that they think so little of the fan base. I don't think she intended to get rid of them, but I just think she took them for granted that they were going to buy everything.
No, she said right in front, the problem was that not enough girls like Star Wars, so we had to find a way to make it appeal to more girls.
Yeah, but
she says it up front.
Yeah.
I don't think that's 100% with the intention of getting rid of, because we always portray her like she's this evil person, but then we have other people like Robert Meyer Burnett who stick up for her, and even Howard said she was, so there's this duality to her. I think she just might be clueless to the fact that you have to kind of water your plants or they die.
Yeah, well, that's where I was saying to that one quote that came out from the Dan, what's his face, from the parks, where he flat out said about Galaxy's Edge 2 years into the deal, she's like, no, we're moving forward. We're not worried about our 50-year-old fans and what they think. We're worried about the fans going forward, which half of that is true when it comes to business, but you also have to worry about the fans that you built the business on.
And that just proves she is a horrible manager and a horrible, businesswoman.
Right.
As far as like calling the shots for that sort of thing, in my opinion, anyway.
Well,
but no, I don't know if she intentionally went out of her way to get rid of the older fan base.
Okay, well,
she said actually, you can go back on what's it, Screen Rant. I don't feel an obligation to cater to certain segment of the fan base.
Mm-hmm.
She's actually said that.
Well,
and she have the intention.
She honestly thought that there was going to be these, because marketing people only look at one thing, numbers, and they see, and for years, what demographic has everybody in marketing said they want to appeal to? Millennials. And they think there's so many millennials out there. They don't spend money. I really do think, now this is just me, I really do think she was fed this line of baloney by her marketing people, and she believed it, that there was going to be all these people who line up at an Apple store overnight for an iPhone, who shop at Whole Foods, who exclusively buy stuff on Amazon, who walk around with their, who write a penny farthing to an office somewhere once a week because they're a freelance graphic designer, that they're going to just trip over themselves to eat up this new version of Star Wars. No, it wasn't going to happen. It's us 50-year-old white dudes who have kids who are going to introduce the next generation to Star Wars.
Hell.
But she wanted to bypass that because she thought she knew better.
All right, well, I agree with Rob, but let's go down Mecca's line of thinking, all right, which isn't a bad road to travel down. Let's say that she isn't hostile toward the fan base, all right? I think this is a situation also where you have a corporate office trying to run a creative franchise, right? You don't have creatives in charge of this creative universe. You have corporate-minded people looking at short-term gains. How can we make money this quarter? They're not thinking about the long term. They're also not creatives. So they're not investing the time and energy that it takes to look at what the fandom has always supported and try and replicate or continue that. They just want to figure out, how can we make money this quarter? And that's why I believe we've gotten most of the things that we've gotten. Even if Kennedy is just at best incompetent, she has been listening to people who are not thinking in a creative lens. They're thinking about, how much money can we get out of this quarter? They don't care. They don't understand that fans of Star Wars, Star Trek, Doctor Who, and many of these other franchises are repeat customers that keep a fan base going. We are the ones that energize the consumer base. We tell our parents this movie was good, our kids, our cousins, our friends. We talk about it in public. We talk about it so much that it makes your everyday normie go, you know what, I'm going to go check that out. And this is something that they don't understand. And this is why I strongly believe that there has been some kind of fandom engineering happening at Disney Lucasfilm, where they've been trying to get rid of the fans who will give them gripe if they don't do it right, and just look to that quick buck. Those people that'll come in and pay for the movie real quick, or get a certain toy or get a certain doll because of representation or whatever garbage they sell themselves. It's not dedication to what came before. It's always about the short-term gain. And that's why I believe that's most of the reason I believe we've gotten the crap that we have.
Well, it's like a hedge fund. They're treating it like it's a hedge fund.
Mhm.
Extract as much money out of it as you can in a short amount of time.
I want to be like Mecca, and I she may just be playing devil's advocate there. I mean,
Which is good.
which is fine, and I want to be in that state of mind. But I was completely unconvinced the moment Leslie Headland
Yeah, you're
situation
right there.
came down, because the way she talks is exactly the way Ryan Johnson talks, is exactly the way Kathleen Kennedy talks,
Right.
is the way that exactly all these blue-haired whales and their boyfriends and their boyfriends talk. So I just got to the point where I realized that we've gotten confirmation, and it goes back to, I think it was one of the first high councils I was on, or maybe it was on Jeremy's channel. I can't remember which. But was it here that we went over the KK interview, Jeff?
Which interview?
Where she was talking about Saturday Night Live and how she was upset there was no women working behind the scenes.
I've been a part of something with that topic.
I'm trying to remember where it was too, because I swear you were there too. But I think Jeremy was there for some reason too. I can't remember, but we all just happened to be around it at that time when that I think it was a Vanity Fair, or no, it wasn't Vanity Fair. It was
There was
something
a Variety article where she talked
Variety.
about
Yeah.
No, this was an actual interview with her on
But
stage.
yeah, that interview, she kind of came off a little clueless, though. That was,
she was just the whole thing. Topics was all about. It was one where she said I was the quarterback of the high school team.
yeah. Yeah, she comes off so clueless. That's the thing. I don't know. Like, I don't want to just assume she's malicious and evil, because I've dealt with enough of the kind of the behind the scenes people in Star Trek to kind of compare. And while she doesn't seem super malicious like your Michael Chabons and those sort of people, or Two-Faced or anything, she just seems clueless. She just seems like a drunk wine mom who doesn't understand what she's got and would rather be sitting there watching there's Huffman show.
Well, there's a saying though. I mean, what is more deadly, the murderous termite that eats for food, or the rampaging elephant that just rampages through a village unknowingly, trampling everything in its path? I mean, that's what she's like. She has no idea what she's doing, and she's doing more harm than good. And it's not that she's doing it from a standpoint of incompetence. She's doing it from a standpoint where she actually believes her own bullshit.
I almost thought these were Spaceball toys for a second, and then
My wife's boyfriend has these. What the hell is this?
If I ask him nicely, he lets me play with them.
These are the new Star Wars Barbie dolls, guys. We have Chewbacca, a stormtrooper, C-3PO, she looks sassy, and Rey.
Wait, C-3PO, is she supposed to be like in a 1970s movie?
Ouch.
Like
Look at that
Sonic
hair
or something. And then we got Lady Gaga. And then we have Athena.
Yeah.
We have a Greek goddess.
That is like a Greek goddess, yeah. I agree.
And then the one on the right is
Some
like,
Conan would fuck.
And there's a Russian princess over there on the
Yeah.
end.
This is
trying to
real.
make her look Native American, I think, Mecca. Look at her a little bit. I think that's what they're doing. Isn't that kind of cultural appropriation?
This
No.
is real.
It's
This is
stunning
a
and
real.
fucking brave.
This is a real thing.
That's the wrong kind of brave, though.
I mean, or is it Lady Gaga or would it be Sia? I mean, she doesn't have the multicolored hair or the two tones.
That's Lady Gaga.
Sia Gaga.
So you have Beyonce, you have Lady Gaga, you have who else? I don't know who the hell are these people.
I don't know, Rob.
But this is a legit
Billie
thing.
Eilish and what's her face from
You're
Australia?
not pulling my leg. This exists.
Well, the reason why I showed this is because we're talking about Kathleen Kennedy and her desire to cater Star Wars to a new market. See, there's a difference. Kathleen Kennedy, let's put Kathleen Kennedy next to Kevin Feige. Sorry, Kevin Feige. But Kevin Feige is tasked with has a simpler task, and that is to bring the Marvel universe to film. Now, he has the benefit that a lot of these characters, this is the first time they've ever seen film. This is the introduction. He has the lore and the history, but he also has a little bit of, leeway. But look what he's done with that. He's created countless fans, new fans, generations of Marvel fans will come back. Well, not to the MCU, but they will come back for their T-shirts and their underoos and their Captain America shields and all that stuff. Believe me, I'm one of those people. I don't have any hesitation picking up an X-Men figure here or there. But on the other side, you have Kathleen Kennedy, who in another way had an easier task of just keep doing what you're doing, Kathleen. Like Lucas had it right. You put out every 10 years, you celebrate a Star Wars anniversary. You put out a new home video release on whatever format's out. You keep the toy line alive by slowly, incrementally introducing technological advancements. Well, these figures had 5 points of articulation. Well, these ones have ball-jointed necks. These ones have bendable elbows. And, well, I have a Stormtrooper with bendable elbows. That means my old ones are irrelevant, so I have to put out new ones. So they kind of had this evergreen property that all you had to do is slightly evolve shit and then put Star Wars on it, and people always came back. And under that guise, or with that in that working system, you had new generations come in. You had the father and the son, the mother and the son, X, Y, and Z. No matter who introduced that next generation, you had that. Kathleen Kennedy caused the schism where allowing not only just catering Star Wars towards women, which was never the problem, but the delivery system, the way in which she allowed all these people to speak to the fans, and the utter disrespect, because Star Wars and Marvel characters mean a lot to people. You have people that dedicate their lives to these characters, that dress up, that want to be like them, that change their names, that design rooms in their homes just as a shrine to these things. And she found a way to cut out their heart, their soul, and then this big pushback. And you wonder why you have all of these people so angry with her. It's because she took away the spirit of Star Wars for marketing research and purposes that were just wrong from the beginning.
Speaking of that, Jeff, point of personal privilege, he, him. I'd like to let everybody know that I'm offended that there is no midget stripper dressed as
damn right.
R2D2. Why is there not a midget R2D2?
Well, I'm glad you brought that up, because I'm going to regret saying this, but give all these girls a fucking sandwich, please, for the love of God. I want to see this happening. I'm not encouraging it, but I want to see this happening. I would love to see a bunch of pissed off mothers go after Disney and Mattel for these, because they're giving girls unrealistic expectations about their bodies.
Why is there not a big girl dressed as a Hutt? I am fucking offended right now.
Well, not only that, they're skinny as fuck. None of them have any curves whatsoever. And the cultural appropriation in the faces is just astounding.
That is not a representation of regular ugly people. All right, I need an ugly doll.
Well, that's why I have Rose Tico.
I want to see myself represented on screen. Can't wait to start hearing that.
Can we get a cross-dressing Barbie? What the hell's going on?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Turn it against them. Do exactly to them what they're doing to us. Go after them and say, look, this is not representative of me.
No.
Is there a genderless Star Wars species we can get a doll for? I mean,
which one's
I see a lack of diversity here. The gold one. I don't know.
Wait a minute.
I wanted to elaborate on a point, though. People were saying that you want more Star Wars stuff without more story. Yes, because what's the bad outcome? Well, the movies are fine. We know that they all ride off into the sunset and they have their happy ending. Oh, you want more Luke Skywalker? Go read one of the 50 books about Luke Skywalker. And there's no damage done to the character. This trying to just pump out more content. Look, more is not always better. Less is more at times. Some would argue 3 Star Wars movies was enough. Some would argue 1. Some would argue 6. Some would say 9 are necessary. But then you get into the weird areas of like, well, what does it bring? What does it take away? And it all just boils down to money. So if you're getting more movies, all they want is more money. But your favorite characters get turned into something else. So I don't think seeing your 500th Han Solo figure in no episode 7 is worse than seeing 10 more Han Solo figures in episode 7, because you ruin the character for a lot of people.
Well, it doesn't matter really, Jeff, because according to the Lucasfilm Story Group, canon doesn't matter. I think Matt Martin said the canon doesn't matter anymore. So you can pick and choose, brother.
Well, that just tells me that Star Wars doesn't matter anymore if they can't be bothered to, pay attention to canon for me.
We'll see how much canon matters when he's shot out of one.
Or that.
Well, I want to get with the audience and read a couple of our super chats and then talk about this new Disney news. Did you guys hear about Disney's new $11 billion debt?
No.
Yeah, they're going to be paying off until 2060.
Oh, no, we'll be paying it off if you go to the parks.
Yeah, maybe they should have spent less buying their own Captain Marvel tickets.
wouldn't you shit if within this like slump some little piece of news comes out and confirms that? I would love it. I would run with that forever.
I'm
Like,
still on it. I'm still refreshing people's memories of it.
Every video would start with, did you know that Disney was caught buying their own tickets for Captain Marvel? It didn't make $1 billion. Fuck that movie. Anyway, on the show. Every video. I don't care if I'm talking about pizza or something.
They funneled the money from the parks.
Yeah, you went over that. I'll get into this in just a second again, but talking about supporting Disney, to me, supporting Disney proper is buying Disney World stuff, going to Disneyland, going to Disney World. If you're one of those renegade people that don't want to support Disney, don't go to the theme parks. Look how reliant they are on the theme park. If you really want to hurt them, because look, if you go out and buy Baby Yoda got paid for Baby Yoda. Mattel paid a licensing fee. Stores paid for it. The money, like when you go buy a Marvel comic, if you were to go into the store and buy the new Warriors, guess what? You're not paying Marvel. You're paying your local comic book shop to hold that garbage. So this sense of like, I want to burn it to the ground with Disney, fine. Do you do you. But remember, when you have an intermediary, somebody that is supplying the merchandise, Disney's been paid many, many times over and many channels away from you. Your hard-earned dollar, they're looking at like shipping from a comic book. So just remember, Disney World is the place. If you don't go there and don't buy shit, that is how you're hurting them. So if you have to do that, go that route.
And the movies themselves. Thank you, Jeff, because that's something that I always had issues with, when we'd report on stuff like you would about the toys, where you'd have 100 people be like this, that, and the other. It's like, yeah, Disney's still making money, but the like Hasbro or Mattel or whoever, they're not going to make any money this time because they didn't sell these toys, so they're not going to do it the next time. And hail, Lethal Lightning, welcome to the High Council, sir.
Holy shit, I got given the link, told I could come on, and I'm sitting here thinking, nah, this has got to be a mistake.
It is. Sorry to let you know, but since you're here, no, I'm kidding, brother. How you doing, man?
I'm well, thank you. Thank you for having me on. I'm gonna be honest, man. This is quite the honor.
It's nice to have you. I know Tom's tried to work it out before. I'm glad we worked it out.
Yeah. Thanks for having me. How are you?
Glad glad we all got this to work out finally.
In other words, if you see a message from me, don't ignore it.
It was about a half hour ago to ask you how much you love Ahsoka and Baby Yoda.
What negative infinity
and beyond.
So you're not going to buy any Baby Yoda merch?
I haven't even watched the fucking show.
All right, but
I don't know. Like, to be honest with you, I think ever since TCW came out, Mandalorians have been pretty trash, to be honest with you. What Dave Filoni retconned and did with them, I think is just atrocious. Like, they're the definition of in-name only. I mean, his Mandalorians compared to how I knew Mandalorians from the great Karen Travis is just night and day.
Yeah. So that's it, huh? You're not excited at all for Mandalorian? You're not going to watch the show, give it a shot?
Probably not. Nah, I'll be honest. Like, Disney Star Wars, it's not for me. It's really, really not for me. I'm an EU guy, so every time I see what they do, I just think this is just a crap version of how I knew it. Like Rogue One. Okay, I liked Rogue One. Rogue One's a good movie, but no, that's not how it happened. It was Kyle Katarn and Jan Ors, not Jyn Erso and
Cassian Andor.
Cassian Andor, thank you. Him.
If you could have a non-personality for a character, it'd be Cassian Andor. Milk Toast, the human being.
That's right. He's getting a show, isn't he?
Yeah.
Lethal Lightning, I don't know about you, but I'm one of those people, until I see footage of it, I don't believe it's getting made. Look at Obi-Wan was in production. We'll start filming in January. Maybe. I don't believe Disney stuff until I see it on screen.
Well, Rian Johnson's getting a trilogy, Jeff.
Wait, are you serious? Rian Johnson's going to get... Do you remember how everyone... Like, it's fun to have been doing this for as long as we have, because it's always like, you may hate The Last Jedi and you blah, 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 but guess what? He's getting his trilogy and you have to fucking deal with it.
Yeah, and there's 2 more solo movies coming, too.
Let's bring up that announcement from last week and see all the stuff we learned about Rian Johnson's trilogy in that announcement. Oh, never mind.
You mean nothing?
Exactly. Not even a whisper. Not even a. And Ryan Johnson's still quietly working on his trilogy. Not even buried in there was anything mentioned of Ryan Johnson. Because I think Leslie Headland is revenge for us not accepting that dirty little round-headed bastard.
Because you got to have that kind of a person in control in Star Wars land, which sucks. Because I'm not... Dave Filoni's hit and miss for me. I don't think everything he's ever done has been this amazing thing. I enjoyed the Clone Wars. I got to catch up on the last season. But I'm more in the Jon Favreau camp because people go, well, he's only done Mandalorian season 1 or he's only written this or that. Yeah, but he made Iron Man. And Iron Man is one of the best superhero movies ever made. Not just, he worked on it, he was in it. He directed it, he added the fucking flavor to the MCU in the beginning. Everyone forgets about Jon Favreau. And yes, he was Happy Hogan as well. But I mean, everyone forgets that guy was the first architect of the MCU. He's the one that really laid the groundwork for the $4 billion or the $2.5 billion Endgame movie. He's that guy, and I love that. And I think that would fit with Star Wars. It's not always about being a fan. Sometimes if you just produce great content, it works. He's not only a fan, but he produces great stuff. I've never seen Jon Favreau work and gone, that sucked. Even his episode of My Name is Earl was awesome. It's one of the most memorable episodes of the show. The dude is great. So that's who I want to see have a little more power, or just more in that tone, or let him pick the people. Because I don't know Jon Favreau. I'll never meet him in my entire life, probably. But I would rather have him dictate the type of people that work on Star Wars, because I don't think we'll get Leslie Headland and Ryan Johnson and other sycophantic political plants to keep yourself in power, or to keep the not the ecosystem, but the echo chamber of Lucasfilm alive and well. That is what you get when you get these people. You don't get new ideas. The thing is, we always talk about it on the channel. Diversity of thought. That's not a real thing, apparently, to these people. It has to be diversity of X, Y, and Z.
No, diversity of thought is code word for racism.
Yeah, diversity of thought for racism.
Go, Jesse!
What Jeff is saying about Favreau is exactly why I think that they're adding these people into the season 2 of The Mandalorian to create some kind of universe, offshoot shows, trying to create something that'll bring in the legacy fandom. But yeah, that's exactly why I really think that.
Well, I think there's more to it than that. I think Andre's right. This is a very calculated move by Bob Iger. He's bringing over the Marvel people. That's why Feige himself is on board to produce, I don't know if it's just a film or a trilogy, but that's happening, we know. And I have a feeling that's probably connected to Taika Waititi. I've said a million times over, don't be surprised if right after James Gunn starts working on Guardians of the Galaxy 3, we get an announcement that he's going to start working on a Star Wars movie right after. I think.
How would you feel about that, though?
I would love it. He's the only one of the few guys that I know. Here's my problem with Taika Waititi. He can be a smartass online, and I can kind of take or leave whatever it is he says for being a troll or whatever.
He'll destroy your mythos in a minute, baby.
Exactly. That kind of thing. You can either take it as he's joking around, or you can take it as he's actually being a dickhead, or whatever it is, or he doesn't know what the fuck he's doing. I don't know how much of a Star Wars fan he is, just like Ryan Johnson. I can't tell you how much of a Star Wars fan he is because he's not shown me. Favreau, on the other hand, has shown me. I know just from Guardians of the Galaxy and Guardians of the Galaxy 2, James Gunn is a Star Wars fan. Like he can tell, he's told us in so many words in other ways, but just by looking at his work there, I can see it out of him. And I know that's what Bob's probably up to, is these are his guys he can trust. I wouldn't be surprised if eventually when the Russo brothers settle down with their deal over at MGM, they might get pulled into something. That wouldn't surprise me at all. From what we know, the whole KK thing is going to end within 7 months anyway. So,
well, the other thing too. Oh my God, what the hell is that?
People said there's no way to make Dengar cool. I just wanted to show that on screen who Dengar is.
Yeah.
Well, but the other thing, Tom, though, is that James Gunn and Jon Favreau, they're one of us. They're fans.
And kind of going off of what Steven was saying and stuff, and I think even what you were getting to kind of a little bit, Jeff, is I've seen Favreau make mistakes, and he does it gracefully. He's not above reproach, or he's not perfect. He's not somebody who we all like hold on this pedestal. That's kind of something Feige's dealing with right now, is he's been on this, and he rightfully so has been on this pedestal for a while. And with Captain Marvel and a few other things happening, he's beginning to be, you're starting to see kinks in the armor a little bit. And you got to remind people, he's not perfect. He's a human being. And the guy's done nothing but hit it out he's been Michael Jordan for the last 10 fucking years, guys. Come on. I mean, no matter which way you look at it, he really has. He's been nailing it left and fucking right. He's won a championship every goddamn year since he started.
How much do you think he's going to regret the whole Kamala Khan and the Dana Schwartz She-Hulk thing?
That's what I'm saying. If this is all true, this is all like where the problems are going to start peeking in, and that's what people are rightfully worried about the MCU. But you still can't take away what he did for the last 10 years either.
No.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Rob, are you a gamer at all, Rob?
Yes.
Have you? Well, I don't know if you saw this, but some information came out about this Avengers game even more, and how it's basically a Kamala Khan story, like new leaks and stuff. I don't want to look. I'll talk about leaks existing and given the most general synopsis. I don't want to ruin it for. Look, we have almost 1,400 or over 1,400 people watching. Somebody might buy that game. Somebody's gonna buy that game in this chat. I don't want to ruin it for you, but I'll say this: reading the leaks, seeing the direction they want to take Kamala Khan, I don't even know why. She's a shit character. Why not just have Mr. Fantastic? Same powers, plus you got 3 other awesome superheroes. And I don't need some story about a teenager coming of age in America with racism or some bullshit like that. I want to see 4 people out in outer space getting hit by cosmic rays fighting Dr. Doom over the sovereignty of Latveria. I'd rather see that kind of shit than this boring crap coming from them.
No, I want to watch a fat, diverse character with huge hands, Jeff. That's what I want. That's what I want.
Well, then you're going to get exactly what you want.
Did you ever see Literature Devil's video essay about why Kamala Khan is a terrible character?
I have not. I need to watch that. He was on the council once. He's a great guest, actually.
Let me tell you, Literature Devil, the guy's got a mind like a steel trap. I mean, when he brings it hard. Phrasing. I read the leak about that today about the Avengers game.
Yeah,
Kamala Khan centric as and pass. Oh my god. But maybe it's she'll be a great. No. She's not a good character. Come on, stop. And I actually had a couple people on Twitter. I generally try to avoid Twitter drama. But I had a couple people on Twitter try to say, "Oh, well, Kamala Khan, if she's in a weekly show on Disney Plus, that might make her a more popular character." Same with Ironheart. I said, no, they're never going to be good characters, never going to be popular characters. They've had their books canceled. Riri Williams was selling less than 10,000 copies of her book when it was canceled. Canceled in 12 episodes.
10,000.
Spider-Man pulls down 60,000 copies a month, and that used to be a lot more. It used to be like in the hundreds of thousands. Now they're lucky to get 60,000 copies a month, but 10,000. That's what the indie Rick and Morty comic does. 10,000 copies. Right. But you honestly think putting Kamala Khan in this game is going to be a good idea? A character that nobody knows, and a character that even the people who do know they don't like.
Yes.
Who has no power set other than Reed Richards. They copy and pasted Reed Richards' power set onto her.
I call them all derivative characters because I guess it's unfair to call no, it really wouldn't be unfair to call Captain Marvel a derivative character because she was Miss Marvel. There was already a Captain Marvel, Marvel, all that stuff. But the derivative characters that they're pushing at Marvel, it's like you guys have literal gold. You have Spider-Man and all these fantastic characters that have been around for decades, half a century or more at this point. But you go with your Z-list characters because, you brought up the millennials. I think it was you, author Stephen Walton. I'm just going to call you your full name on the show. But I think it was you that brought up about the millennials that aren't buying stuff. They're going out there doing their thing because they're this graphic artist. Once a week, they leave the house. If that's the way they want to live their life, awesome. But there are dudes and there are women and men out there who will buy your stuff if it is quality. And, I don't care. Like, with all of our channels, I don't care how old you are. I don't care what skin color you are. I don't care what you look like. I don't care who you go to bed with. I don't care about any of that shit. If you watch the channel, I'm happy to have you. I don't need to curtail or not. I'm not trying to, get my audience to believe everything I say. Like people in the chat, they disagree with my statement about Jon Favreau. Awesome. I still stand by what I said about him. I'm not looking for an echo chamber, but I'm also not looking to have a system where I just weed out the undesirable fans. If you like what I do, please come back. Marvel has lost that desire to please you and have you come back. They want whatever looks good for 5 minutes in the Twitter sphere.
Exactly.
Push you out.
Again, it goes down to short-term gains. They're looking at the impulse buy. Those people out there, the millennials or whoever out there that shares their ideology, that will pick something up just because it reinforces their echo chamber. But they're no longer catering to fans that have been around for decades, that will continue to buy their stuff, that will introduce it to their children and to their friends and talk about it and bring it up in conversation and create buzz. They just want that they're just worried about that short-term gain, and that is killing a lot of our favorite franchises.
Yes,
Snowflake and Safe Space. Yeah.
And the worst part too is when you add in the current crisis, and you also think about a lot of our favorite stuff. The people that actually bring it to us aren't these billionaires, these multimillionaires, these people with all this influence and power. Like I keep trying to stress, and I know Gary's talked about it sometimes too. Like boycotting Marvel is fine. Just remember the comic book industry that lives outside of Marvel that's going to die. That's somebody.
Right.
Go.
Andre says, go buy what you like. Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah. No, don't apologize. That's the point I was going to make. If you hate Marvel but you're cool with DC, still pick up your Batman book. If you hate DC and Marvel and you want to pick up something independent, there's something there. Or just go buy a fucking action figure, a Funko Pop. Even though I hate them.
Pick up something independent. You should buy Stealing Solid.
Oh yeah, nice call.
Yeah.
Well, now that I have a new,
missed out.
But there's
I have a new printer. I had to sign paperwork and shit today. That's why I don't have a card to show, because I've been dealing with a foreign entity.
I should have done something.
Oh, no, I want to show it, and I'm going to do it. I just want to make sure it's exactly the way I want to portray it. I don't want to go, hey, guys, this is an idea for a card. I want to have it.
Yeah, I know. That one I sent you, I don't want you to show that, no. If you want to share this picture, though, this is the new fans they're expecting to pull into Star Wars right here. I love this picture. I made this, but still. These are
pretty
accurate. It is. It's very accurate. This is what they expect.
I feel so in touch with the diversity of the neighborhood here in Williamsburg, Brooklyn. Funny thing though, as soon as I moved in, the rents went way up, and all the minorities and old people left. I what happened? I mean, geez, don't they like artisan mayonnaise?
Well, they don't like white girls being, further oppressing them by having to speak on their behalf, probably.
But
That's my guess.
Here's another reason why I know Kathleen Kennedy probably has very little to do with Mandalorian. That right there. We know who he is. We will watch the show probably because of him and other directors like him. Because these are the guys they should have been getting in the first fucking place.
They all love Star Wars, so why not get Robert Rodriguez and other big... And you know what? I will say this too. Deborah Chow and these people that I had never heard of, they did a fine job.
Yes, they did.
So it's not about, it's a boys club. And I only repeat those things because you got to remember, folks.
I use the term guy loosely, yeah.
Everyone wants to throw it back at us. Oh, you're just the sexist whatever group. It's like, no, we're not. We're cool with it. But if the people, everyone's held to the same standard for all of us. So if like Bryce Dallas Howard and Robert Rodriguez are both directing episodes of season 2 of Mandalorian, if Robert Rodriguez knocks out the park and Bryce Dallas Howard shits the bed, then we're going to call it out. But the opposite is the same. And I actually hold Robert Rodriguez to an even higher
standard, yeah.
But his work. Bryce Dallas Howard's an actress to me first.
The moment Deborah Chow said, I want to be known as a good director, not a woman director, I liked her and I gave her a chance. And it paid off. She did a good job.
There's still one name though. I would have loved to have seen direct something Star Wars related.
1, 2, 3. Joe Johnston.
Yeah.
Joe Johnston. Criminal, absolutely criminal the way KK treated him, and it's absolutely criminal that he's one of the most underutilized directors in Hollywood.
Well, not just him, everybody. Where's Ben Burt? Where are all these other people that are still around who have connections with Star Wars? Did you ever notice that? And we brought this up, I think, on other podcasts. I don't know if we ever brought it up here on the council before. But yeah, Rob and I noticed early on, she had this big adversity to having anybody remotely connected to Star Wars involved with Star Wars. What the fuck is wrong with that?
And John Williams probably because they probably talk down to her and say, well, what would George Lucas say? And they go over her head or they go call George on the phone and be like, what would you do here? And they wouldn't treat her with respect.
Yeah, Donkey Saurus Rex. Joe Johnston he worked visual effects artist on The Empire Strikes Back. He worked on Raiders of the Lost Ark. He directed The Rocketeer. He directed Captain America, The First Avenger, one of the best fucking MCU movies of the lot. People are that.
He did The Wolfman, but that.
Yeah.
He did the
Wait, he
original
directed Not
Jumanji.
Safe for Work?
Yep. And he also did Jurassic Park 3. And Jurassic Park 3, Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, but Jurassic Park 3 is the reason why him and KK don't get along, from what we know. Because she was such a pain in the ass on that movie to deal with, I guess, that he vowed never to work with her ever again, is what we heard.
I also think he finalized. Joe Johnston worked on the first Star Wars. I believe he finalized a lot of the designs, like the Millennium Falcon and Boba Fett.
Yes.
And so, I mean, this guy's hand is his work is all over Star Wars, Indiana Jones, things we know and love.
Same thing with Ben Burtt and shit too.
Well, Ben Burtt, to me, look at when I go like if I'm going to name 5 people involved with like why Star Wars is as great as it is, obviously I got to give George Lucas, John Williams, Ralph McQuarrie, but then I usually go Ben Burtt and Joe Johnston because those are 2 names that aren't lesser names. I just would put them on the list, and you have to list them. But Ben Burtt, that is one of the most. I had this discussion with Dion when we were drinking after episode 9. Another thing with the sequel trilogy is that it doesn't sound like there's a rich sound to Star Wars. The prequels have it. The original trilogy obviously invented it, but Lucas always kept that around there. I don't know if it's that licensing rumor of the 25% or it's a Kathleen Kennedy decision that she didn't like him because of, whatever when he was coming up. But like Ben Burtt's sound work on Star Wars is iconic as every piece of music and every character. You in your head right now, everyone, lightsaber sound effect. It just went off in your head. You know it. Or what a walker or a laser blast from
R2D2.
Star Wars. Yeah, or R2D2's breathing, or Darth Vader's breathing, R2D2's beeping.
He's technically the voice of R2D2.
Yeah.
He did all the and all that kind of shit.
Everything is identifiable, and you can place everything in the universe. Everything sounds like it belongs there. That's the thing.
He made R2D2 real. He gave him life. Before, other than that, it was just that stuff was computers. But like I just said, he did the whoos and the whoos and the gave him the actual emotion. And Gary Kurtz is another one who deserves a lot of credit too. I seen his name pop up in the chat.
I guess I misspoke though, because I was just trying to come up with like actual the creatives, the people that X,
right.
Y, and
Z. If you go the top 5 besides George Lucas, though, there you go. Those are the 5.
Yeah, if you take Lucas out, Gary Kurtz would take that spot.
And you notice one thing about Star Wars, those are all sounds and effects we never heard in another science fiction movie until Star Wars.
That was the point. George said, don't make me new sounds. I don't want to hear any library sounds in this movie, because that's what he was afraid of, is it would just sound like a bunch of old Buck Roger pictures, because they just, paid for a bunch of cheap old stock sounds. What did he do? He went out and he created this entire universe. I mean, Chewie is a mix between like a bear and a bear and something else, and
like a walrus.
Yeah, like a walrus and some other things. And then like that's he would put the microphone on one of the tension wires for a power cable and take a pair of wrenches. Yeah, just doom. Yeah, that's how he got that sound.
Fucking brilliant. And you notice in the sequel trilogy, they never use they don't use any of those sounds.
A lot of his sounds have been remixed or redone. Yeah,
and I don't like that. Because their new weapons don't like. If there were certain things that I guess psychologically I'm connecting to, then I wouldn't have such a disconnect from the movie. But like, first off, when I saw episode 7, the music sounded slightly off. Then the sound effects aren't there. Yeah, the ships look the same. Yeah, that is Han Solo, but there's just something else that I don't know that I can't quite put my finger on. And I think a lot of people are aware of that too.
Can you believe though the Pew Pew guy is not involved in Star Wars? Sorry, I had to say that.
I think Laura Dern's making the noise with her own mouth.
Yeah, one of the more inventive sounds I remember. Remember those big, huge like hover tanks that the droid army had in episode 1? They achieved that sound effect by taking an electric razor and running it around inside like a cooking pot.
Oh wow!
I mean, it's just simple stuff like that. I'm like, anybody could have really thought of, but it's simple stuff like that. Like, who would think of that though? But that's the thing.
Yeah, the Millennium Falcon, every time it conks out, I think is a jet engine shutting down or something like that.
There's so many iconic sounds that you just correlate to Star Wars. As I did as a kid, even when if I was playing with my Star Trek models, I would think about there's different Star Wars sounds. Like Michael McKinney just said, I always like the TIE fighter exhaust noise. Like me too, I love that sound. Yeah.
Not the sound in the background of my audio. Sorry.
No, that's American Graffiti going on. 1, 2, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, a rock.
I've never seen the movie or I've only seen clips of it, so I need to get
Ever seen American Graffiti?
We got to watch American Graffiti.
American Graffiti is great.
Oh yeah, it's a great movie.
It's not diverse. It's not diverse enough for me.
I do want to check it out. I like, now that George Lucas is done from Star Wars, I think he's done making movies and stuff in general. For me, it would be cool to go back and just be like, hey, let's check out everything he's ever had his finger on with a credited role. Not like, oh, Lucas invented or helped invent Pixar technology. Let's watch every Pixar movie. Just, specific things. Like, I'll go back and give Willow a shot, even though I remember hating that movie.
Willow, I love. THX, on the other hand,
THX
is a tough watch.
That's a weird movie, man.
It's definitely one of his tone poem movies. There's hardly any dialogue, and what dialogue there is very ancillary and doesn't have very much to do with the plot. And it's stoic. It's really tough watch.
Let me read some of our super chats, and then I'd like to talk about obviously all this stuff more because I think we're on a really good flow tonight. I think this is a really great mix of the High Council, Tom. Thanks for bringing in author Stephen Walton and Lethal Lightning and Rob.
Hell, brother, thank you for having us.
Hey, it's my pleasure to have you on. So, it's a great panel. That's why I'm not saying as much because I don't want to cut people off. There's a lot of good points being made.
Hey, tell Lethal he's still gonna lose that fight though.
Oh, what fight is this, Lethal?
I'm gonna punch the shit out of Jessie when she gets to Australia.
Is it okay?
He's going to punch the shit out of you in Australia.
Is it okay to fight women there? Or what?
Doesn't Jesse practice Krav Maga or some shit?
Yeah,
I don't give a fuck.
Be on the High Council and suck it up to my boyfriend ain't gonna save you. Okay?
You're gonna get a roundhouse kick. Watcha, mate. Like over here, the KFC car park's the most dangerous place. We're gonna go down there. It's gonna be a fucking brawl, man. I live in a country full of crocodiles and poisonous spiders, but that car park is World War III.
I gotta get down to.
You better videotape this shit.
Oh, I'm gonna go and film the whole thing for the channel.
God dang right.
Please.
Have Rob do his announcer voice like he did for Throw Down that Toontown.
You won't get
It's
it.
the
I
main-
want it. It'll be a
Tonight,
bloodbath,
it's-
man.
Live from Australia, it's the melee in Melbourne.
Lethal Lightning, what's up? Why is this all going down?
Well, it was actually Jessie's idea, and I just agreed to it. She said that she wants to have a Jessie Fest, and she suggested Australia. And then along the lines, it was like, "Hey, we should fight." And I was like, "Yeah, I don't discriminate. I'll knock you out."
I'm not sure whose idea the fighting was. I thought that was your idea, Lethal, because I told you my plans for Jessie Fest, and you're like, we should have a brawl as the main event or something like that.
That does sound like something
How
I'd say.
tall are you,
so,
Lee?
yeah, that's
Fighting,
tall are you?
meaningful fighting.
How
is
tall am
gonna
I?
get-
I'm about 177 centimeters.
Okay, so that's
That don't mean shit to me.
Yeah, I don't know.
It is. Oh, she's gonna whoop your ass, dude.
Isn't he a short guy?
How tall? Wait, how tall is that in inches? Did you do it?
He's about as tall as I am.
How tall are you?
Remember, you seen me in person?
Oh dear God.
A while ago.
I was
5'7"?
5'8", 5'7", roughly. I'm like 5'8", 5'9".
He doesn't even have a size advantage to go.
That's what I just said. You're gonna get your ass kicked, dude. But that'll be fun to watch.
Oh, dude, people are gonna make good money, Lethal, to watch you get your ass handed to you.
We'll do it on a High Council. That'll be, we'll be, Rob, Tom, Mecca, Steven will be commentary.
Definitely.
And
Yep.
we'll call the match.
Hey, as long
I
as we
agree
do
with
the
that.
High Council live from Australia, I'll do it.
I'm thinking of the parking lot fight scene in Kingpin right now.
And then drop bears come in and fuck it all up.
I just, I have to request though. I want one of those cool like yellow Wide World of Sports jackets that we used to see all the
That
time.
can be done.
You got
Okay,
it.
cool.
Howard Cosell, right? Was that him?
Yes. Yeah.
Howard
Exactly.
Cosell.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We're live here at ringside, waiting for the combatants to make their way into the ring. And here comes Lethal. Lethal dancing around, his head bobbing to and fro, looking cool, looking confident. And here comes Jessie Milestone. Jessie Milestone, followed by her husband, potential, I think husband. Their nuptials have not been made
More
official.
like carried in by her.
He's dressed like Andre the Giant.
I was gonna say more like he'd probably carry her in like Andre the Giant.
Carrying,
on his
hoisted
shoulder, on
upon
one
his-
shoulder. Yeah.
Hoisted upon his shoulders, blowing kisses to the crowd,
I like that. It's gonna be on commentary.
reveling in this moment.
There you go.
And then you come
I'm
in.
ready
And, yeah, that'd be amazing.
I would say if Jesse Fest doesn't get off the ground next year, we'll just do it at our Fandom Menace meetup next year.
There you go. Sounds good. Oh my god! Imagine that. Imagine a Phantom Menace Fight Club.
I'm just gonna watch.
Dude, I'm gonna kill everyone.
Honestly, I think she probably would beat everybody if Jeff wasn't if Jeff didn't partake, because Jeff would be like Andre the Giant. It was just like he lets you win if you're gonna win. That's about it.
Oh, Jeff, it's like forget it. Unless you pull the Wesley and manage to squirrel up on his back and choke him out or something. But man, let me tell you, that's easy.
Wait, I got to write that down. I need the tip.
We're friends, Tom. We don't need to fight.
Stop, Jeff.
They might make us because we're probably the two biggest guys in the Menace. We're fucked.
I just can't wait to throw down with Jeremy and have him be like, yeah, what?
It's gonna be like Kirk fighting Spock.
So I think Jeremy knows I can take him. So,
Dregs, your answer is Dion. Dion wins. Anyway, let me address these super chats in the chat. We got quite a few because I want to talk about Disney's $11 billion debt. Their new $11 billion debt. So first off, our friend Space Monkey 0899, thank you very much. He says PlayStation equals censorship, Microsoft equals pro-consumer. Space Monkey, if you're discussing the Last of Us stuff, yes. Microsoft, to a degree, is pro-consumer, but I also feel like they have to be extra careful with this Xbox Series X launch. I want them to do well, but it's got to be right by the fans. So I'm with you on that sentiment overall. Deadeye, thank you very much. He says, Monty Python and the Ministry of Wanker Writers. I like that name. There are wank writers.
And now for something completely different.
I love that show so much. I'm in the weird minority, though, that I love the show, but I don't really love all of their movies. Just the show. That's my favorite thing.
I like the movies, too.
I don't like all the movies. I think I'm right there with Jeff.
Well, which ones don't you like? Just out of curiosity.
I love The Meaning of Life. I'm not the biggest fan of The Holy Grail. I mean, it's a good movie. I acknowledge why it's regarded as a comedy classic, but it's just not my personal favorite. I like how absurd the Meaning of Life is. And then Life of Brian, not really a thing for me. And then Jabberwocky's technically not their movie, so.
I like parts of Holy Grail, but the ending's always been bullshit to me.
I love Life of Brian. That's probably my favorite one. But I mean, I always say this when we talk about it on Mead. Like, I always say, like, if you want to like give somebody an idea of what Monty Python is as far as like the show, but like this is the movie of the show, I usually point out Meaning of Life.
Yeah.
That's probably why I like it so much. What about you, Mecca?
See, now I love pretty much all things Monty Python except for like the side project stuff. But yeah, like for me, I think Life of Brian's my favorite, but I like it when they debunk, and give alternatives to sort of the Christian mythology. So I like that about it quite a bit. And I like it from the historical point of view and kind of the absurdity of humanity, how we really haven't changed much. But yeah, I'm a pretty big Monty Python fan. I like pretty much everything.
Yeah, we're a big Monty Python.
Yeah, I started more with the albums, so I know the Holy Grail more by skits.
Like for instance, I got, what was it for your birthday or Christmas? I think it was Christmas. I got you the Monty Python Blu-ray box set, Rob.
Oh yeah, the
limited edition,
the Norwegian Blu-ray edition. Yes.
Yeah, I've still got the old DVDs back when they came out in like 2 full-size DVDs.
For some reason I have 2 copies of the album, The Final Ripoff. I don't know why.
What's in the box set for me?
Because you got ripped off buying it twice.
Yeah, that's right. The Four Yorkshiremen.
It was their plan all along.
Yeah, The Four Yorkshiremen's a great sketch. The cheese shop sketch is great. It's my we got egg and bacon, egg and spam, egg sausage bacon and spam, spam, tomato, baked beans, spam and spam.
Now I want to watch that shit.
This
By the way,
parrot is deceased.
Mm-hmm.
That's my favorite one right there.
Dead parrot sketch. Oh, yeah.
Hello, buddy. He hits it on the table.
You get an achievement on Insult Simulator for making the exact quote.
Jeff, if you're on Steam, buy Oh Sir, the Insult Simulator. It throws in all the Monty Python references in it. One of the scenarios is the pet shop, and it's over, and they're arguing over a dead parrot.
One of my favorite sketches we ever did on Mead was Monty Python Star Wars.
Ooh.
I didn't see that.
Real quick, by the way, folks in the chat, tomorrow night on Fandom Menace tonight, I will cover more of the gaming aspect of stuff. I see a lot of people started to get the wheels turning on the game topic. We'll talk about that tomorrow night. I've been reading a lot of next-gen console stuff as well as, Last of Us controversial stuff. So, yeah, I'm all about that. Just come back tomorrow night at 10 p.m.
You're
Eastern
talking
Standard.
about that on here? Well, it was nice knowing you guys.
Stone Cold Jeremy says, what? What, Stone Cold Jeremy?
Someone Daniel wants to know what about the Mex-Men?
That one's
Hey,
one of my
Holmes.
best ones too. Yeah, that was.
Hey,
pretty good.
hoes! Last time on the Mex, man. See, Carlos Javier, Professor Carlos Javier, man. He went at the thing, man. And Juanita Gray, she come in with a superpower and float them all up into the sky.
It's El Margarito.
El Mag-
Don't worry, I will destroy you all.
I got a couple ideas for things I want to talk to you guys about because I'd like you to be a part of them, especially for the voices and the just ideas to bounce off.
We do voices. Yes.
I love it.
We still do need a mariachi X-Men thing.
We have been trying so desperately for that, yes. And we've gotten our A-OK from our Mexican viewers, so we're not racist.
I'm glad you checked with them.
Yeah, we made sure.
Good.
All
So
three
let's
of
see.
them.
Let's see. Our friend Rack Eads Masha. Did I get it right? Yeah. Rack Eads Masha says, the orcs are here. Wah!
I say the orcs are here. Oh, the orcs are here? Yes. Well, uncivilized, aren't they?
So I think that's.
I heard the orcs were racist.
We talked about, we've done like almost every Monty Python. We did Lord of the Rings too, didn't we?
Now, Frodo, when you get to Mount Doom, make sure you cast the ring into the volcano.
Yeah, because we said that, who is it? Eric Idle can probably play Frodo, right?
Yeah.
I can see that.
And then we had,
Graham Chapman would probably be Gandalf, wouldn't he?
oh no, we said, I thought we said he would play Samwise, I thought, or the what's his face, the king,
Aragorn.
Aragorn, because we had John Cleese as Gandalf. I thought.
Well, I
I could be wrong. It's been so long. My bad. We're slowing down the show. Go back to super chats.
Oh no, I was gonna say is I finally saw the first Harry Potter movie and John Cleese was in that, and I was like, John Cleese should be in everything. He was
Absolutely.
As much as I hate Die Another Day, him playing Q was fine. Like Desmond Llewellyn will always be the best, but if you have to have another actor take over the role, John Cleese didn't miss a beat once. So
You're rude and you have bad breath and you shall not pass.
Yes. Yeah.
Tim Scorpion, thank you very much. He says Disney just borrowed $11 billion more today. Tim, that'll be our next topic. Actually, you're the first person to alert me to that, so thank you. Zontar says Hulu should adapt Star Wars Underworld scripts. Zontar, I actually had this discussion last night with Jesse about the Star Wars Underworld, that TV show that George Lucas was working on, and how if he had the platform to make that 10 years ago or whenever he wanted to, I don't think he would have ever sold to Disney because he would be so deep in that, and he would have something to work on, to look forward to create. And too bad we never got that, but I would like to see it. Maybe if Kathleen Kennedy leaves and we have somebody that can actually bring some grit to Star Wars.
Was Underworld the one that had that Palpatine relationship stuff with it?
I don't know.
I don't know. I remember seeing
that
seeing
Palpatine relationship stuff. I think it was pretty bad, to be honest with you. Kind of made him a bit too much like Anakin, in my opinion, how he's just whipped. I kind of like Palpatine just being the Sifari, debatably, just evil, as opposed to upset about a woman.
Makes it
I'm
like
starting to see a gimmick here with Lucas.
Yeah, we're all just broken hearts doing the best we can.
Yeah, brother. I don't know if the scenes from that show that you did get to see, that little bit that was filmed, it looked so good. He wouldn't have sold Lucasfilm. That would have made money. That would have made an entirely new universe.
Oh yeah, and it would have been awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Joey Bryant, thank you very much. Oh, you changed your icon. He says, if done right, could be a flashback or most likely old video as a plot point for an episode. If done wrong, I don't even want to think about it. Joey, I actually never thought that he could just be playing a flashback or some kind of hologram or something like that. That's a possibility, but I don't think they're going to let this announcement come out I feel like if he was just a small part of an episode, it would have been a surprise. But I think he's going to play a more prominent role, or they're going to pull some bullshit with season 2. And
wouldn't he be about age appropriate now too? Anyway.
Yeah, he would be, because he's what? Tamara Morrison's on his 50s.
Well, he was a kid technically in the prequels, so
yeah. So yeah, it would have been, let's see, 3 more years plus an additional 20. Oh God, yeah, he'd be old. He'd be really old. Yeah. Shut up, Lando.
I mean, I'm not against it per se. I just don't give a shit.
Yeah,
that's my problem. I mean, I don't know. To me, Boba Fett's dead, I guess. I don't know why. I thought it was hilarious when Robot Chicken did their thing with him. Because if you watch the version where somebody cut all of Boba Fett's little skits together, it's a little story about him getting out of the Sarlacc pit, and it has a little like through line and all that kind of stuff. Actually, all of them do. The little Star Wars skits.
If I could be the worst type of fanboy for just a second, one special edition change that could have been cool is at the end of Return of the Jedi, there's a post-credit sequence and Boba Fett comes out, and then they never do anything with it. And
if Lucas really wanted to make it canon, because let's face it, Rob and I are the same way. We're basic, in this Lethal Lightning. Cover your ears for a second. We're basic bitches when it comes to Star Wars. The EU is homework. Okay, we don't want to have to do homework to understand shit. I shouldn't have to do homework to watch The Force Awakens. I shouldn't have to do homework to like, no, that's extra bullshit.
It's DLC.
I actually agree with you. I do agree with you on that. You shouldn't have to read anything for a movie to make sense, but that's where the EU was different.
And I get it. For those who would enjoy it, it's fine.
Right, the EU expanded upon the existing universe. It didn't fill in the gaps or explain things.
Exactly. Even with the movie novelizations, like Revenge of the Sith novelization is just fucking phenomenal, man. Like there is no doubt in my mind if the movie was more like the book, it'd be widely considered better than Empire. But their novelizations never outright went out of their way to quote fix a movie, unlike the Disney trilogy movies. Their novelizations.
Those are blatant. The last two, especially, because this is the first time. Like we were talking about this on our previous High Council, how The Last Jedi and The Rise of Skywalker are the first time ever where the novel didn't precede the movie, even by a few days at least. Because we were talking about. I think was that the one you were on, Steven? Where we were talking about the Phantom Menace book coming out before the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we had read it and it was like, oh God, we were just jazzed up for it. But we just thought it was so cool that the book was out before the movie, and it was the same thing for all the other prequels and I think up through The Force Awakens.
But I mean, hypothetically, you could watch to Return of the Jedi and end it there. You can go, yep, done. That's the conclusion.
Oh, yeah.
Rock on. But I mean, if you want to go further and then you find out that, Boba Fett actually did survive. He climbed out. He became Mandalore, which I don't even know if Mandalore, the title Mandalore, is a thing in Disney Star Wars. I don't know. He became Mandalore. He had all that stuff going on with Darth Caedus, and then he trained Jaina. He gave a present to Han Solo saying, here, kill your son, do the whole galaxy a favor. Right. All that type of stuff, It's not required. I mean, I think it's better than the movies, to be honest with you, but it was never required for the movies to make sense. I'm all for Boba Fett living. I don't like the idea of Disney doing it because I can't stand. The one thing I can't stand is when they scrap 30 years of content, throw it away because they want to do their own thing and make a consistent timeline, which now includes Fortnite. And then they start cherry picking elements from the EU, which according to them, there is no source material. And yet you have a bitch ass version of Admiral Thrawn in your shitty Rebels show. That's the one thing I don't like.
For 2 seconds, Lethal White Lightning. Hi, Michael. Okay, you can keep going.
What's up, Michael? I saw that pop in too.
That's the one thing I don't like is when they just try to take stuff from the EU, which they said never existed, and then they bring in a condensed, watered-down version of it. Like Admiral Thrawn in the Rebels show, like no,
dense.
Just no. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
just no. We're talking like the way I knew Grand Admiral Thrawn was he needed a handful of Star Destroyers and he could bring a New Republic down to its knees. This Grand Admiral Thrawn gets outsmarted by Space Aladdin, beaten by whales, and can't track down a group of kids. Like just no. Like my personal favorite character, Jason Solo, Darth Caedus. I mean, look what they did to him in the sequel trilogy. Like, nah. So that's the one thing I don't like is when they bastardize the old stuff. Do your new stuff, whatever you like. I'd prefer them make something new and it's total garbage as opposed to ripping off something they said never existed in the first place. That's what does my head in.
Hail to that. Yep.
What about the rumor that Thrawn might be? There's another rumor. This is just a rumor. Thrawn could be in season 2 of this show. That would be the worst, I think, because he wouldn't serve a purpose.
Exactly. I mean, I haven't watched the show, but I would agree with that, based on what I do. What purpose would he have after the... See, here's the thing. Like, they brought Thrawn into Rebels, which I thought was a very weird time to bring him in during that time period. Because in the EU, in that time period, he's out on the... he's, like, doing missions, like...
on the Outer Rim, isn't he?
He's in the Outer Rim, but it's kind of like exploring, right? And he comes back and he goes... Yo, there's a thing out there called the Yuzon Vong. We're all fucked if we don't sort this out. Instead, they have him come back to track down a bunch of kids, and he can't even do that. So, I don't know what his purpose is. He's blue.
Like the greatest tactical genius of the Empire going after a child. I totally agree with you.
If Michael wants to come in, I can go make Rob watch porn.
I'm fine with that.
Yeah, see, Rob's always good with that. No,
well, look, if
if he does.
I would say if you want to work that out, man, I'm going to read a couple more.
I actually don't know how to get a hold of him per se. He hasn't added me on.
Oh, okay.
I was going to say if I've been wanting to get a hold of him. Actually, I want to talk to you about that off the air though. Yeah, but yeah, if he wants to add me on Twitter and stuff, I can send him the stream link for sure or whatever.
Okay. Let's see. Our friend, the Grand Inquisitor, says Katie Sackhoff played Bo-Katan in the Clone Wars / Rebels. Okay, I keep calling her Katie Sackhoff. The stream.
Oh, so she's already been in it.
Yeah,
I did not know that. I mean, I have the box set of the Clone Wars. I just never watched them all.
Yeah, she played a character in there, and they're going to cast her as the character that she voice acted.
Oh, okay. I'm
like a Mandalorian.
I like Katie Sackhoff, and I know Rob does.
She could have been Captain Marvel.
She should have been Captain Marvel.
Should have been.
Should have been.
Larson, even though she's 10 years older.
Well, even though we probably still would have got the same character, at least she would have made up for something.
Yeah, unfortunately, that movie's problems aren't all on the shoulders of
Brie.
Just Brie, because there's too many. Like Rob's famous saying, "I swear you made this up," but you may have seen it somewhere else. But that movie really is. It's driving Miss Marvel. It's such a detriment to Fury's character that
it is. And people overlook it for a laugh, and that's my biggest problem with the MCU. When you overlook anything with Disney nowadays, you overlook story for a laugh. Because, comedy only lasts for so long. But, after a while, you're like, I've heard that joke 10 times. It's not as funny anymore. You chuckle. Certain comedies will stand the test of time, but the Marvel stuff really doesn't.
To me, that's also a classic sign of bad writing. In Captain Marvel, you see it very heavy-handed in The Last Jedi. When your comedy has to take you out of the story, when you have to sacrifice something, the flow of the scene, the logic of the story, something from elsewhere in the universe for the sake of a joke, you're doing it wrong. The joke isn't worth that, and you're just not clever enough to write a good joke that fits.
Well said. I agree.
A good example of a joke that doesn't take you out of the scene is when in Guardians of the Galaxy, when the Collector is telling him the story of the Infinity Stones.
Mm-hmm.
When Peter Quill says, "I think I peed a little." That's somebody would pee themselves and something like that when faced with the prospect of galactic Armageddon.
Yeah.
So that doesn't take you out of the scene. I'm like, that's a natural reaction to something like that. So,
but I mean, Star Wars was never about that.
Yeah.
There was humor in maybe a hand gesture, or it was kind of like an eye roll or some crazy element like Han Solo running down a hallway, but it was never the Marvel brand of humor, which the wink and nod.
Yeah.
Logan Michael our friend J Paula 821, thank you very much. He says, does the money really go to Mandalorian or Bob and Kathy get money? I don't think the money goes to the right people and properties. Tom, you're very well versed on who gets paid where. Do you have anything you'd like to?
I mean, if you're trying to ask if you're out there buying Baby Yoda stuff, if that's going to support the Mandalorian in the long run, yes. If you're asking if KK gets direct money in her hands because of the Mandalorian, no. She gets paid her salary and whatever that just comes. She's going to get paid that whether Star Wars makes that amount of money or not. But what they do see is if Baby Yoda stuff sells, if the Mandalorian stuff sells, as opposed to what little Rise of Skywalker crap there was out there, that will make a difference in the long run. They do pay attention to what sells. I've talked to more than enough people that worked in them kind of departments. I mean, we've even had the Clownfish TV even know a little bit about this kind of stuff. We've had them on here before too. And Anna, that Star Wars girl, and a few other people, like, they pay very close attention to what does and doesn't sell, because it makes no sense to keep trying to push something that doesn't sell. I mean, that's where I have a feeling to go way back to what, Mecca was playing devil's advocate a little bit before about KK, is I have to believe at this point there is almost some kind of agenda, because Disney's never been notorious for not worrying about the bottom line. If they know something, that's why we've constantly gotten the same things over and over for the last 80 years from Disney, because they know it sells. That's why Cars is so popular, not the movies. Everybody knows the movies suck. They're made for 5-year-olds. That's the point. They sell more toys than you have any idea. Still to this day, how many years after the third Cars movie?
Yeah, I've never even seen a Cars movie, but I know who Lightning McQueen is because of the merchandise.
It's still popular. I'm pretty sure there's a Cars section in every Walmart still, but there's nothing really there for a Star Wars section. Trust
Didn't
me.
they even do a spin-off called Planes or something?
Yes.
Yeah.
Straight to video. Yep.
Well, I think it just really goes to like.
No, Planes had a theatrical release. I'm pretty sure.
You're pretty sure? I'll believe you on that one, Jesse. It may have had at least a limited release. That's very plausible.
It was a summer release because it was a drive-through. It was the summer of 2014 because it was they showed it at the drive-through, and it was the drive-through, so you weren't picky. You just went.
All right, I might have. I thought it went straight to video. If I'm wrong, I apologize. There you go.
Well, the thing, Tom, the point you're making, though, I think Disney doesn't really have any right to get an age, like a generational spanning franchise. They're good with kitty crap. They're good with the princess line. They're good with putting out their movies for a certain type of family, but they're also incredibly disposable. They come and they go, and if it's popular, the merchandise will sit around. But if they're going to keep pumping out this female-centric Star Wars merch that doesn't sell, eventually somebody's going to lose a job over it.
Right, and that's what I keep saying about like how people are like, well, how can they keep letting things go on like they do in comics and stuff like that? It's like, well, it's because in comics the money people are gone. In movies, the money people are still there. They're going to want their money back eventually. Right. There's no money in comics anymore. That's why that's gone to so deep levels of whatever hell you want to put it, attached to it. That's where that's at. But the movies are changing. We're hearing rumblings that the go woke, or they've heard the words go woke and go broke. They're starting to understand. But right now everything's in a standstill, and you got to remember it takes time, as it is for movies to come to fruition. So
I would hope they understood, because what expedited the fall of the comic book industry was getting woke and going broke.
Exactly my point. Yes, and but they weren't paying attention to that so much as Terminator: Dark Fate, Charlie's Angels, those kind of things, Birds of Prey. These kind of things are really what's if Captain Marvel really had flopped, at least in the public eye, that would have even expedited it even further.
No, they weren't going to let that happen.
That's the problem. One way or another, that was not going to flop, and we all knew it. Whether it was just strategically planned that where it was released, or there is some fudging going on there, regardless.
That movie made $500 million alone just because of where it was placed.
Oh, exactly.
Had nothing to do with
prime real estate, exactly.
Yeah. Man. Well, Captain Marvel 2, it's got to repeat that. You can have one hit. If it doesn't do it again, then there's no power in that brand. So we'll see Marvel eventually. What if they never make it?
I don't know. I hope they do, because I'm looking forward to the
I'm hearing enough
videos.
movement on it. Yeah, I think it's going to happen.
Well, we got this covers retweeting 7-month-old Captain Marvel articles as of about 25 minutes ago.
Well, and they just got some new writer. I think
every so often the Brie Larson news hype machine gets cranked into gear. I'm like, so that I don't know if her people are trying to keep it at the forefront of the public eye, or
absolutely. I mean, that's absolutely it. They really want her to be the next SJW darling, the cinema darling. But I mean, just she's so dislikable, except for Lethal. Lethal loves her.
I love her long time.
Lethal's going to come to America and handle Brie Larson for us.
Get rid of her, man. Get rid of her.
Send her here.
I mean, she'll get eaten by a dingo or something.
Hey,
so
Michael says Star Wars is done, guys and gals. The money is in monster trucks too. Yeah, the movie that was the brainchild of the 4-year-old grandson of the head of the studio.
That's where I get all my great ideas from. What about you guys?
They sunk so much money into that.
So we also had our friend, the Grand Inquisitor. We read his. We read Jay Paula. Sid the Magi, thank you very much. I don't think I've heard from you in a while either. What if Tamara Morrison is just playing Captain Rex?
No, wouldn't he be dead? I mean, they brought him in. They said that he was in the Battle of Endor, which I think is kind of bullshit. I mean, age-wise, but Mando's between what 6 and 7. Like, nah, surely he's dead just by age, right?
Well, if you officially buy into the whole Captain Rex is in the Battle of Endor in 5 more years, I mean, he looked old as hell anyway. What if he's just playing a dying character?
I mean, who knows? What if, was he saying his prayers and taking his vitamins? Hey, he might still, be kind of tough.
Yeah, Hulk Hogan's still around, so
that's right. Exactly.
I guess it's possible. I don't know. It just seems a bit too far-fetched for me.
Well, it's Disney Star Wars, bro.
Yeah, that's true.
Logan, Michael,
why not?
Right. Canon doesn't matter. Sorry.
Oh, you're fine. Logan Michael Anti-Funko Pop says, if Rockstar released Vice City with an updated graphics, I would lose my shit. Most likely won't happen, though, but hey, Pops are still gay. Logan Michael, if they release Vice City with modern graphics and a new control scheme, I'll buy it. That could be Grand Theft Auto 6.
Please.
Well, actually, the going rumor is that Grand Theft Auto 6 is supposed to take place in Vice City.
Oh, please.
It'll be so nice to play a Vice City where you can swim.
Yeah, you go knee deep in water and drown.
Right.
But Logan Michael, if that's the case, I'm buying that game day one.
Even better if that game has like hidden in it like a remastered version of Vice City. That'd be awesome.
Jeff, do you play GTA Online?
I did before I moved.
Okay.
Do you?
Yeah. Yeah, actually I do, yeah.
I do from time to time, but I haven't in a while.
Well, it's the best game to jump in and jump out of. That's the thing. You could just it's so easy just to pick up and put down. I think that's part of the staying power, yeah.
I love GTA so much, and then the whole open world online experience, and the GTA 5 map was great. So
I think a lot of franchises should take notes from that, and it would be amazing. I mean, I know some of them have tried, and Star Trek kind of has it, and DC kind of has somewhat of a, but they need to, I would like that if they took a little bit more from that open world kind of attitude of GTA a little bit more.
I would too. There was talk, people wanted a Star Wars game in that vein. Exactly. I would buy a Star Wars game like that.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? I've been keeping the audience waiting long enough. I'm dying to talk about this. So Disney raises $11 billion in move debt.
I've seen this.
The move comes as the Hollywood conglomerate looks to repay near-term bonds according to a regulatory filing. The Walt Disney Company has raised nearly $11 billion in a new debt offering as it continues to deal with the impact of the novel coronavirus pandemic on its worldwide business. The company,
so much for the Star Wars money.
I know, right? I thought Star Wars was the best thing in the world.
What is a debt offering?
I don't know. That's why I'm not going to make tons of
Rob.
Well, I kind of looked into this when we did the AMC thing. From what I understand is that they issue stock or bonds in the company and they sell it. I mean, it's essentially a stock offering, I think. And then it's like a bond offer, and then it's almost like buying a bond from the government. They offer up a bond, and they have it come due later on down the road where it's paid back in full. That's my understanding. If I'm wrong, please somebody correct me.
Yeah, you'd know the best though.
Instead of buying bonds in the government, you're buying bonds in Disney.
Not without having Andre here, anyway.
Yeah.
So you just keep hearing all this bad news about Disney. Now, I'm not going to try to act like, oh, Disney's going out of business tomorrow, folks. Not. It's so dumb to say that shit. But all I want to know is, do you guys think Disney could weather 7 more months or 6 more months and change of no Disneyland in America.
No, they're pushing to open as soon as they can, to do whatever they can to open. I mean, look at how quick they rushed to open Shanghai Disney.
Now, do you think there will be any adverse effects of jumping the gun?
Absolutely. Because what would they announce with California? 3 more months? So
LA County today, we got till the end of July, Jesse.
Yeah, I think I sent that to you, didn't I, Joe?
You did.
They're still trying to do some like phase 2 reopening stuff here, where like certain businesses can sell stuff, like you can pick up curbside and stuff. But it's weird.
It is weird, but I never realized how much Disney had hinging upon Disneyland.
Go ahead.
What is it? I never liked Disneyland. I'm not trying to, laugh at this situation because I personally hate Disneyland. It's just I never realized it was that big of a thing. To me, it's like something you do like maybe every 5 or 10 years. You take your family and then you just don't go back. It's the same shit.
Well, that's why we keep reminding everybody that AT&T is bigger than Disney. Comcast is bigger than Disney. Netflix is technically bigger than Disney. The only reason Disney is able to do what they are able to do is because of the parks and the ancillary stuff. Is they bring in so much. Yeah, $11 billion. It is fucking insane. Right here tells me that Fox was a bad idea.
Fox was a bad idea, dude.
This tells me that the Galaxy's Edge was an even worse idea.
Well, this just it comes off like and I think you already did this in a video also, Rob and Tom, where they were just buying up anything they could get their hands on, and then I think they were just gonna move on to the next thing. And I always use kind of a retail analogy where they come in and make a lot of changes, just so it looks good on a resume to go to the next job. And by the time they're off to the next job, it hasn't caught up with them yet. And doesn't matter if they're spending more than they can make, because they're just going to keep perpetually buying everything, and they can just keep juggling the money. They're borrowing from one thing. They're borrowing from their marketing budget to buy the tickets to their movies, in my opinion, because I can't really prove it, to further perpetuate their merchandise, which it just kind of is a cycle where they just kind of keep juggling money. And it reminds me a little bit of Amazon's business model too, where they're actually operating at no profit, but by the time but they're so big that they're continually churning money, so it doesn't matter. But now they aren't churning money, so now it's really, really catching up to them. So
as Andre will say, you always want a little bit of debt in a company, because of that shows that you're always going to be innovative. There's many reasons for it, but yeah, I'm just looking at the increase and decrease. I'm trying to get some solid numbers though, as far as how much the actual revenue is for like merchandise on Star Wars too, because I think that's another thing that's hitting them real hard in the knees is the lack of income they didn't get for Rise of Skywalker.
Right.
I think that really hit them in the nuts real hard.
Also,
they had a record year last year for box office. They made $42 billion. Well, the year was $42 billion overall at the box office, and a big chunk of that was Disney's.
Well, look at when Iger checked out. Here's that corporate mentality. Iger checks out. He puts the guy that was in charge of the debacle of Galaxy's Edge, Chapek, in to replace him. Nobody saw this, this pandemic coming. Iger thought, hey, I'm going to leave on a high note, and all the fallout from all the overspending and the people that I put in positions that have been doing terrible jobs, that fallout will fall on our fall guy Chapek. But now that everything is collapsing with with their financial, the structure with the parks and all the finances that generates, now he has to come back in and save his own ass to save his own reputation, because they have to weather this storm. I feel, and also all of the pressure for the parks to reopen that comes from all of the cast members and the employees who are not working right now, who are getting unemployment. Eventually that's going to run out. That's going to be a strain on the company. The state or the government's got to be going, hey man, what are you going to do with these guys? Eventually, keeping all the lights on, the maintenance workers, they need to reopen. Honestly, I think that's the only way that company survives.
Well, I think it's going to be a very interesting couple of years. It's funny how there's always been like this hope out there that, the Phantom Menace, once Star Wars stuff dies down, you'll never have anything to talk about. But there's this new change in entertainment that has yes, it's happened because of the virus, but it's also happened because of Disney's past issues and stuff like that. But I think there's just going to be a new way to consume entertainment, and it's going to be, I don't want to say exciting because I don't want to see people lose jobs or anything like that. But I think it's going to be exciting to see how in 5 years, even people that are more like Tom and I both love traditional standard physical media and all this stuff. It's going to be interesting how even we consume entertainment. And if Disney does fall, it'll be interesting to see how, like who would take their place. What happens?
Well, it's funny you bring that up. That got me kicked off of John Campia's podcast earlier in the chat.
Wait, you got, good for you, man.
You didn't hear about that?
What did you say?
I said he was fucking wrong, and I got kicked out.
About what? About what?
About the editing of movies and shit. And Robert was trying to basically take the same stance I was, but you know, he wasn't about to get in too much of an argument with Mr. fucking John Campia. So yeah, next thing I know, I'm
King Man Baby.
Yeah, and next thing I know, I'm booted out of the chat. And needless to say,
you defied.
I didn't know, and many others didn't know he even had mods. So I'm wondering if he did it himself.
You defied the echo chamber, Tom. How dare you? You're not allowed.
All I told him is he was wrong. Splash is not available in the United States on Blu-ray. I said, buy me the Blu-ray then, John. He can find it, and he's lucky I have a region-free Blu-ray player. But good luck on eBay. The only copies that are available are from overseas, and they're not cheap anymore because of this. You know, that's just one example.
You know, it's something that Jeff was saying earlier. The fandom has made a change. We're a pushback. We're a consumer pushback to the toxicity that has infested entertainment and the people that are using our entertainment franchises as platforms to espouse sociopolitical propaganda, rhetoric, racism, and bullshit that we're not going to fucking have. And now that things like this pandemic have taken place, we're even louder of a voice. People are at home. People are listening to different ideas, different things, or be able to pay attention to the bullshit that the access shill and mainstream media throws at them. And now that we're seeing these kinds of articles coming out, as far as us running out of material, Phantom Menace is going to exist for as long as we need to exist, and our voice is only going to get louder as more people get tired of this woke bullshit. And even if our influence is only incremental, they know of us and they pay attention to us because we do reflect the mainstream. Sorry, I said it there.
J.J. Abrams even acknowledging the Phantom Menace. The Phantom Menace, they're called. Yeah, I mean, that's something.
It is something. It absolutely has. I mean, even if it's antithetical for them to recognize us. I mean, I'm surprised JJ even said the words. But I mean, because we're probably poison to most actors that if they even mention us or even know that we exist. But the access media damn well knows we exist because we put out more fucking honest reporting than they do.
We get more views.
We get more views.
Speaking of JJ, I lost a little bit more respect for him today because I seen this story that popped up that he was talking about how Star Trek is held to a higher standard as far as sci-fi goes. It's like, motherfucker, if you understood that, then why did we get the Star Trek that we got and the Star Wars that we got out of your ass?
Hail to that.
And it's true. He's not wrong. Star Trek is held to a higher standard than most sci-fi stuff.
He probably just learned it.
Sheer effing hubris, Tom. What is wrong with you?
Yeah, he probably just learned it.
Wait. I'm sorry.
So
that's all he said. That was most of his script. I'm sorry. I'm sorry for
being an old white dude.
My pee works now. I have a new body.
That's a really good Picard, man. That's better than mine.
And where's my dune buggy?
Yeah, you might have to replace me, dude. Say dune buggies.
I love dune buggies.
Oh my god. It's uncanny.
Okay, sorry. I thought my stuff froze for a second.
You did froze for a second. Yeah, we were just doing Picard impressions. You're fine.
Okay, cool. I can hear you, so I didn't know if you could hear me or not.
No, we can now. I just got your message though. So
okay. So, yeah. I did want to bring up the one point, and then we'll go to something else. When you talked about the rise of Skywalker for Disney, I did that video last week that took off. Yeah, if you have they have an advertised budget of $275 million. You have to multiply that by 2.5. That's the conservative estimate. So you had, I think it was 687.5 was the number, and then it brought in $1 billion and change. It made less than Joker, and Joker was made for think they'd report the budget at $54 million. So even if you doubled that, there's no way in hell, it's the same profitability. And everyone forgets about the profitability for the studio. It's not just it grossed this much at the box office. No, there's got to be the other side, what they bring in, because they have to pay off everything first. So it was a disappointment.
Yeah, this almost wipes out pretty much whatever profit they made from last year. Pretty close.
Yeah.
I mean, they made a little bit more than this probably, but I really got to feel like the Fox thing. Okay, it's not fair for me to say that was a bad move per se, because it could pay off in the long run, but they have yet to utilize it in a way that's, especially during this situation, we should be seeing Fox movies and a bunch of other crap getting loaded up everywhere possible. And, even Bob had to backtrack on his everything's going to be available on Disney Plus BS. Where is everything? I paid for a year of this crap, and 90% of the stuff I have. Speaking of physical media, Jeff.
Yeah. It's, I don't want to keep saying it every week because it sounds like I'm repeating myself, but yeah, it's not the greatest streaming service, and it has nothing to do with disliking episodes 7, 8, 9, and all the other stuff. Right. It just doesn't offer that much. I mean, I use Hulu's they got a big stake in Hulu. I use Hulu every day. I don't watch shit on Disney Plus.
That's the truth of it. You know what? I just got the Stars app because it was free for a little while, and I probably watched that more in the last week and a half than I haven't even touched Disney Plus, and I can't remember the last time. Oh, I watched Frozen for the first time with my friend's daughter. That was the last time I watched it. That was weeks ago.
I've been seeing ads for that new HBO Max.
Yeah, I've been thinking about it.
The only reason I'm thinking about it, I'm not going to get it off the top yet, but they have every episode of Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
There's more than that.
Yeah, I know there's more than that, but I always told myself if Fresh Prince of Bel-Air ever hits a streaming service, I'm going to sit down and watch every episode in a row. I was going to do that with The Simpsons, but Disney actively cropped the episodes, so I'm not going to go back.
I guess they fixed that now, but they still don't have like the Michael Jackson episode and stuff on there. And
but you know what, my
Homer where he gets medicinal marijuana episode, I believe, is on there as well, which is one of my favorite fucking episodes of all time.
They edited out an ass on Splash Man. Ass. What the hell? I think my son started watching The Simpsons though, and I was. He's been binge watching that on Disney Plus. So I mean, but that's really, no, there's nothing there for me, really. If they're,
How can you not have Lisa? It's Your Birthday though. That is like one of the quintessential early Simpson episodes.
Yeah. And another thing too, the other night Jesse's like, "Hey, let's watch Angels in the Outfield." So that's a Disney movie. You go to Disney Plus. It's not on Disney Plus. We had to watch it on YouTube. It was on YouTube, the entire thing, probably VHS quality. Oh, God, yeah. But we wanted to watch Angels in the Outfield, and so we have a free year of Disney Plus on Verizon, and they can't even deliver that film. So
wow, that's not even on there?
No, it was not. The other night, we looked.
I started watching. I'm curious now because I've been wanting to get on there. I just hadn't had the time, but I should make the time. But I've been wanting to see if there's more movies that have been edited out of curiosity, too. So I've been trying to get on there to watch some of the live action films, but
there's a great website called moviecensorship.org, I believe, and they usually will do even 1 second of edits. They'll list them. So I mean, that might be a good place for you to check, and then you can find it yourself if you want.
But I mean, that pissed me off earlier in that chat because there's a lot of people on Rob and my side. Then you had a lot of people that are like, John's right. You're just a troll. The next thing you know, I'm booted. It's like, you mother dirty.
John Campia is never fucking right.
Even a broken clock's right once or twice a day. Yeah. But he even out of his stupidity once in a while, he's right. But I've just had enough of him. He is kind of like the fake access media that I thought we were getting rid of when Collider decided to screw the pooch and get rid of all their shows.
You're right, though. He is right.
On his own now.
Like, even his stupid Ahsoka rant, like what he was saying was correct, but he just worded it pathetically bad. But the message he was getting across was correct.
I haven't been.
Okay, sorry.
I haven't been booted by Campia, but I did
tried to correct him once. He was saying, "Well, if Sony wants Idris Elba to be James Bond, well, that's a smart move on their part because he will bring in his blah 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 blah." And I said, "Sony has nothing to do with casting James Bond." I said, and I'm in the chat. I'm like, "Sony has nothing to do with casting James Bond. It's Michael Wilson and Barbara Broccoli. They have to say, oh, but they're the studio and they get to say and they get to choose." I'm like, no, you ass. Shut up. I'm like, shut up and listen. They have nothing to do. Barbara Broccoli and Michael Wilson are the only people that make the casting decision. Well, but if they want to cast him, it's their right to cast him. I said, don't you understand about shut up? You're wrong. That's
and he didn't block you?
No.
Well, let's remind everybody that this motherfucker went and punched down at Drunk 3PO.
Yep.
Okay.
He's the one who had the cousin humping man babies thing about the whole hands. And
I mean, I'm not supposed to be too mean to him, and I'm not supposed to be picking fights or nothing like that, but he kind of picked the fight with me, if you ask me.
well, I think he started it too by deeming the whole fandom a bunch of cousin humping, basement dwelling man babies.
By the way, Drunk 3PO is going to be with us over on Mindless Entertainment after this show, folks.
Nice.
So I'm dropping the link in the chat. But Drunk's a great dude. A lot of fun. We had him on the council for a few minutes once, right, Tom?
I think so, yeah. But we were talking about working something out where we have like some kind of Marvel DC crossover with the Dark Council and him. Wasn't that the deal we were trying to work out?
Yeah, well, you and I need to get together and just actually like talk off air and come up with like a little plan.
I know, man. It's tough as shit, though. But yeah, we need to
believe me, I know I've been busy with shit, some stuff important, some stuff not. They finally opened our pool area, so I'm like, I need to get outside. So I'm just trying to like keep my sanity. But other than that, we do need to talk and work some stuff out because the High Council, we've seen a nice upswing in all of this stuff, and I think we're bringing a lot of interesting voices. So I have a debate idea I'd like to do too. So.
Yeah, well, we got to get those guys on there because you got the president Abu Nas. I mean, we've got the preacher himself right here below me here, but we got the president and a lot of other people we need to get on here for sure.
Hail the president of the Fandom Menace, Abu Nas. Hail all them boys over there, Damajnai. By the way, Damajnai is my boy. He has been one of the voices that's speaking out for us since this whole thing kicked off. And my man hasn't even reached 1,000 subs. Could we get Damajnai 1,000 subs, please? He has been our voice speaking out against this bullshit entertainment for the last 2 years. Help a brother out. Hail Damajnai.
And I got to correct John Connors. It's not his cousin's boyfriend that's in the Fandom Menace. It's his wife's boyfriend. So...
And there you go, folks. If you're curious on how to spell Damajnai, it's spelled Damajini.
So I really don't need a letter tomorrow from John Campia's fucking lawyer.
Send it to me, John. Then you'll just be harassing.
Yeah, Mecca said it.
He came out with
Listen, I'll make a point. The Fandom Menace deals with a lot of bullshit, but the ladies in the Fandom Menace deal with it the worst because they dare to defy the narrative. They're not brave and stunning, so they get all kinds of stuff that nobody else gets, all kind of harassment, the shit thrown at them is terrible. The black men in our community, unless they're the great Jeff Hicks, they have basically been ignored because they also defy the narrative. They don't want black men speaking out against the narrative that these SJWs push at us. So people like Damajnai don't get the algorithm. They don't get the attention that I believe that they should get. That's why I want to see my brother at 1,000 subs.
Amen.
Oh yeah, women don't get it either. Hardly.
Right.
We don't even get the hit pieces that would send traffic our way. We don't get the what was his name, Matt Miller.
Or if you do, you're completely misrepresented because you were in one Mecca, but you were completely misrepresented. If I remember.
No, I wasn't. Oh no, the only article I've had that actually points me out by name was from Bounding into Comics defending me after the
no, wasn't there that one that had all the Bree bots coming after you though? Because it was like saying you're being mean and nasty to Bree or whatever on that one website.
Yeah, they don't. No. I've had the HuffPost try and smear me.
Oh, HuffPost, that's what it was.
Bullshit on Twitter, but no, they've never actually written an article about me.
Oh, okay, all right.
Because they know that I would use that against them.
Right.
No, but you're right. Anna, Jesse, for instance, who's in the room with Jeff there. Yeah, they're overlooked every time. The narrative.
They get attacked the worst. Yeah, they get it.
Internalized misogynistic drugs or something.
Yeah, or you get called like what she just said.
Now, the guy from was it Vanity Fair? He wrote about Doomcock and I at the end of 2018,
And Gary, and that's the one where they implied you were racist and didn't even realize you were black.
Yeah, there's like, yo, if you're gonna make these accusations about me, could you at least like look it up? Because, like you said, they only talk about Gary, they talk about Jeremy, they'll talk about Ethan, the people that fall into the whole white guy narrative,
Right?
And then they'll come after Jesse and Anna and Mecca, but again, they'll just misrepresent these people. I don't know how they can keep calling themselves journalists, because if we're newsworthy, if we're worthy of an article, you got to do your research. I mean, this is stuff they teach you in grade school and high school, and these people apparently went to college. Yes, you studied philosophy and gender studies, but at least you went to college. You have a precedent on how to write papers. Apparently, they don't. But all these people, I love those types of articles though, because they're fun. I mean, my personal favorite, like I know you brought up John Campea, Tom. I don't even give him the time of day. To me, he's all the Collider guys. They were just a remnant of, we're going to buy advertising through fake excitement on geek culture websites. They're like IGN for movies. IGN, I don't trust IGN. They just want to sell me shit. I go to IGN to read the comments from the fans who actually buy the games or buy whatever, because I'm going to take their word instead of X, Y, and Z dude who gets paid to give a good review, or who gets paid to, overlook the loading issue or overlook the too much water or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But
go ahead, finish. I'm sorry.
No, fine, cool.
I was just gonna say, what pisses me off is I will check in with Campea once in a while, because he's one of the reasons why I do this shit. I mean, he was one of the guys that I give when they were back still at AMC Movie Talk and stuff. I mean, they were the reason why I realized you could do this kind of stuff on the internet. Same thing with Jeremy will tell you, I mean, but then he just went off the motherfucking deep end somehow, and he lost his heart and soul with John Schnepp. When John Schnepp was gone, Colliders went out the window. He changed, everything changed over there. And then we got the whole Christian Harloff going off on and basically just showing the Access Media shills that they are, which we knew, which was the other problem. We were all losing respect for him. But that goes right to what you were saying, Jeff. When we are doing better research than the supposed actual media, there's something wrong here.
But he worked hard, Tom, being a fan.
I know he did. He worked so fucking hard.
He worked hard being a fan. I mean, that
hard as hell.
He did. He earned that.
He had to sit there and watch that Star Trek Wars, whatever they want to call it, and he didn't even like it, but he wants the free passes to Disneyland.
It's the difference between shill media, right, and people on our side. They may do the same amount of research, but how much can they say? What kind of spin can they put on it? How can they kiss that corporate ass to get that free ticket or to get that free the interview? That's what matters to them. That's why the Fandom Menace reports are genuine. We're not getting paid by anybody.
Oh, sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt.
Oh, no, go ahead, brother.
I was going to say, just to show how basically, Jeff and you guys all took the higher ground. Doomcock and Gary and you were more well within your rights to go after them for slander, because that article was pure fucking, I'm sorry, in writing it's libel.
Good Spider-Man reference.
I know. Mm-hmm. I love that line. I resent that. Writing it's libel.
I remember.
But you guys all just like blew it off. You were just like, whatever. Yeah. Go ahead. Sorry.
Well, the thing is, like, the guy is full of shit, and the audience knows what's up. We all know what's up. So instead of me expending all this energy to, threaten Matt Miller or Mark Miller or whatever his name was and all this stuff, like, screw it. That was at the end. That was Christmas time when that article came out. I had, we were celebrating the holidays. It was a really huge year for the channel. I was working on the comic stuff. I was doing other stuff. I don't have time for that kind of shit. I was talking to Jesse about that today. You can like us, you can hate us, you can do whatever you want, but I don't sit and stew in all this hatred, and I don't spend my time reading all these terrible tweets and stuff. I'm just like, screw it. People want to watch the content. I'll make the content and just remain a happy guy.
Right. Oh, real quick, I can't be a hypocrite. Lord Doomcock's name was mentioned. Hail, Lord Doomcock. If I want to hear a review on a video game, I'm not going to go to a game journalist. I'm not going to go to a YouTuber that I don't trust, that I know may be paid or getting some kind of advance in some way. I'm going to go to Lethal Lightning. And if Lethal Lightning tells me it's trash, I know it's trash.
Oh, if they give me a free copy, I'll still trash it if it's trash. We don't accept review copies. I've certainly been trying to, drop a couple of hints here and there on certain things. Like, I'd like a free Nintendo Switch. I'd like a free pass to Disneyland. You can give me a review copy of that. But no, I'm not out there only to kiss their butt. And I don't care about it that much. A lot of it's like, yeah, I joke around, but sure, I'd take a review copy, no problem. But yeah, they just want to what? They think that's their into Hollywood? Do you think that's their into be an actor?
Well, you just build up a reputation as being a liar, really, and no one's going to keep coming back.
Because, what's their end goal there? I mean, yeah, it's great to build a YouTube channel and a career just to get a free video game, but what's your end goal? Do they even think that far ahead?
Exactly, yeah. You get your game, awesome. You could just bought it for X month. Yeah, then what? Exactly, yeah. Then you're just sitting there going, oh, well, cool, I got my game now. Oh, shit, that new game looks pretty good. If only I was on this the first time.
Well, I mean, that's why I think the Angry Video Game Nerds had such a nice life span on this platform, because
he predates this platform, actually. But yeah, sorry, Jeff.
No, yeah, you're right. I mean, I've been watching AVGN since probably 2006 is when I think
originally, when he first put his website, before that was he was on that other website.
He was on Game Trailers for a little bit,
something like that. Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah, I think you're right.
But he, I think he's great. He's somebody that I still watch his content because he keeps improving it. And I don't think it needed to be improved, but I mean, he improves the production value. They're bigger, they're better. He's not one of these people that just sits and plays a video game and says, you need to buy that. It's hot, it's hype, it's this, it's that. It's like, no, the dude takes a craft. He's a filmmaker at heart and he turned it into something else. And I think that passion.
Well, he's a big catalyst in the fandom menace, I think, too. I don't know if you want to take note of this, Stephen Walton, but when he took a stand and said, no, I'm not going to go see Ghostbusters 2016, and I don't care what you say. I mean, he got raked over the coals, man.
Oh, yeah. They wrote articles about him in the New York Post or something like that.
That was one of the original things of Man Baby coming from was Patton Oswalt. So that's why I kind of keep a little hate boner for Patton Oswalt all this time.
Yeah, that's kind of ground zero right there where it all kind of fucking just exploded.
That's why I started. That's why I found Midnight's Edge was about Ghostbusters 2016 because I was more gaming. I was still a gaming channel back then. And that's how I kind of knew about a lot of this because a lot of channels I watched from gaming also covered a lot of 80s nostalgia pop culture like Ghostbusters and all that stuff. So.
Yeah, I was watching you guys back then too. So I mean, it's cool that we all work together now. So let me get caught up because I have one final closer about Robert Pattinson refusing to work out to play Batman.
Look, I've been defending him. I've been defending him quite a lot, but I can't. I'm sorry, Rob. I'm out. I'm not out, but I can't defend you on that. I'm still gonna see this movie.
Lifting weights is hardly so.
If this was Adam West and you're just like, fuck it, I'm just gonna have my gut hanging out, then yeah, sure, I'd be all with it. But I mean,
this is the sculpted Bat body. Little child.
I think it'll be a decent movie, but come on, Rob.
He doesn't want to set a precedent. What the precedent is you working out, you ass.
I was gonna say, yeah.
Look at Ben Affleck disappears and comes back fucking bigger than Three Men.
Right. It looks like he ate fucking Matt Damon while he was gone. And Matt Damon did it willfully. He's like, hey, well, it's for your craft, man,
J.K. Simmons is what, 61, and he was getting ripped just to play Commissioner Gordon.
Yep, You're 100% right there. That was kind of scary looking. Wait, I think one of Jesse's friends worked at the gym he was at, so she would see him regularly. I'll have to ask her.
And it's not a vanity thing either. It's because of what Lethal just said. Think about it for a second. He's got to stand next to Ben Affleck, who's 6 foot whatever, and fucking 500 pounds now, and the size of a fucking German tank. So if he doesn't bulk up a little bit, he's going to disappear on screen.
This is going to be emo Batman. I don't want to say it. But
yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. And I keep saying, Stephen, that, and everybody in the panel, and anybody who'll disagree with me out there, go right ahead. But come on, the only reason why he was cast was because Warner Brothers still thinks that there's some residual Twilight dollars out there. all the little twihards are old enough to start spending their own money, and they have their own cubicles they figure, oh well, maybe they'll buy Robert Pattinson Batman Funko Pop.
They also transformed into Raylos.
Yes.
So and they see that all that activity going on. I mean, look, Robert Pattinson, I think, is a decent actor. I don't forgive him for Twilight. I don't even care about that. But I think he's a decent enough actor to pull off the role. But not working out to be Batman, right? The peak of what a man can do, the physical reach of what a man can do. He's not going to work out.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Like I said, I am still excited for this movie. I'll be there day one. I think it will be good, and I have been defending the casting of Robert Pattinson, but Jesus, man, how can you say this stuff?
I think this is a bad time and a bad thing to say because
exactly, no, you're right. I mean, like, there's nothing to do. We're all in lockdown. This is the perfect time to get ripped.
I look at like this
juice, motherfucker, juice. Sorry.
No, I get it. Even that, I wouldn't care. But like Batman has always been like, people are going to make the argument. I know Kevin Smith is going to make the argument. Well, when Neil Adams drew Batman, he was a lot more lithe, and he was this, and he was there. Lithe, excuse me. He's thinner. He's this. He's that. He's that era of Batman. So we're going to have the apologists and excuse people come out, and that's fine. But also at the same time, I just don't draw attention to it. Maybe if Robert Pattinson was like, we're going for a 70s, classic 70s Batman, and you pull up some set, even though the Batman's well-defined and very muscular, he's not a tank like a Frank Miller Batman or Jim Lee or stuff like that, or real-life Ben Affleck. I get it. I'm into the more like physically imposing Batman. I thought Christian Bale had a nice blend where, yes, he was imposing, yes, he had technology, but he kind of looked like Batman would. You know, these are superheroes, not... I'm not your fucking superhero, folks. You don't want to see me run around on rooftops. I might fall, so it might be funny to some people. But, like, I'm not that. We're supposed to go to the theaters to watch bigger, larger-than-life things, not, you know, Twihard or whatever you want to call him. Bat-Pat. He's just – I just don't think he's right.
It's a better vote in the chat. See that? 16-bit man.
What did he say?
Bat Tom is better than Battinson.
I vote for Bat Tom.
Damn right. That little bitch is a little Twinkie, man. If I had all this time to jack myself up, I'd jack myself up so much they'd have to reshoot everything because I'd be so stoked.
I'm just glad you keep saying up instead of off because that would be a really odd clip for the high count.
I'm trying.
He says, I think if you're working out all the time, you're part of the problem.
That is bullshit. I mean, I get, okay, if you're starving yourself, that's one thing for a character. I get where he's coming from with that kind of mentality. That's kind of where, you know, like Joaquin Phoenix said he would never do that again for a character like he did for Joker. And granted, he's getting too old. He's going to kill himself if he does it again. Robert Pattinson is young. And I wasn't just kidding when I was just being Batman there. I'm not kidding. He should be getting himself so jacked that not only do they need to get a new stuntman to replace him because he's not jacked enough, that they have to reshoot everything Batman. Like, here is your opportunity. You're right. You guys are 100% correct. He needs to get so jacked that we all have to shut our fucking mouths when that movie opens up. All he's doing now is making all of us naysayers 100% correct.
It doesn't even make sense. How is working out part of a problem? It's a healthy thing, and it's also kind of like inspirational. Like I consider myself, you know, a moderately fit fella, but when I saw Ben Affleck on screen, I thought, all right, it's time to put an extra. It's time to go up on the weights, man.
Well, let me explain something to you, Lethal. Since you're not an American, we love fast food, and singers get yelled at for losing weight here. So maybe that's the kind of structure he's coming from.
Here's his quote. He says, I think if actors work out all the time, they're part of the problem. They set a precedent. No one was doing it in the 70s. James Dean wasn't exactly ripped.
James Dean was dead.
I know, he died in the 50s. Right?
He was ripped.
Millennials.
And I'm going to call bullshit on that one because, you know, I think I was pretty fucking ripped for 1976 and being in my 30s. You know, I don't know. You know? Rocky, come on, fuck you. That was the introduction to the bodybuilding age, you idiot.
Dang it.
That's where Arnold Schwarzenegger came from. Go ahead, Rob. Sorry.
Here's the thing, Bob. Okay. People weren't doing that in the 70s. Yeah, you know what else? They also thought smoking was good for you. Okay, we've come a long way, dipshit.
Yeah, I don't remember Mickey saying "lay off the cigarettes." No, he said "lay off the pussy." He didn't say shit about the cigarettes to Rock.
Yeah,
Oh God.
I can't defend
People
this
back-
one.
People back then used to just drop dead. One day at
Christopher
the
Reeve,
age of
thank you,
60.
script doctor. That's why I love that man. Christopher Reeve is a prime example. Remind me again, when the fuck did Superman the movie come out?
78.
I know. All right. And he worked his ass off to be in that movie. Because if you look at his and they're on YouTube, I guarantee it, his screen test for Superman, he is scrawny as shit.
Yep.
Yeah, Dave Prowse trained him, got him big.
Yeah, it was a rhetorical question about the year it came out. I meant to say that was the whole point. It was in the 70s.
You look at David Prowse in the Dark.
Yeah,
Vader
another great
costume.
example. Yeah.
But if you actually stop and just examine, that's a big guy underneath that suit. Jeez.
Yeah, he's fucking huge, man. Because he was supposed to be Superman originally. And then at the last moment, they said, nah, you train Christopher Reeve, you get him big.
That's because he can't act.
Yeah, well, I mean, what is Superman going to sound Scottish for a whole movie?
Yeah, the accent. Yeah, not true.
No, I'm looking forward to seeing if there's any more nuggets that slip out from Robert Pattinson. That's all I can say. This is going to be a fun build up to a possibly train wreck, or it could be a great movie. I'm not I gotta wait. I can't put judgment out there, but I'm going to be following this just for the lulls.
Where's the exact quote? In are we reading the article, or are we just kind of talking over it?
Oh, we're just kind of talking because
I know you don't have a lot of time. Yeah, you got to get.
Oh no, I just wanted to look and see what exactly the quote was. I know Mecca said it earlier, but
let's see. He did. The quote was those two quotes Mecca read were definitely it said.
Right there's the 70s one right there.
Yeah. And then right here he says, reflecting on his time in the franchise, the Twilight franchise, being on 2008, he said, the one time they told me to take my shirt off, I think they told me to put it back on. Pattinson revealed his
That's not a good thing, Pattinson. Jesus Christ. Look at script doctor said again. Even Helen Slater worked out for Supergirl, for fuck's sake.
Yeah. And I mean, look at, even though people don't really talk about it, Harrison Ford got in good shape for Indiana Jones.
Oh, hell yeah.
Doom. I mean, there's all these precedents, like you're talking about setting the precedent. Dude, it's kind of the standard thing. Look at, if for some magical reason they're like, you look enough like Andre the Giant to play him in the movie, but you need to be in this shape, I'm gonna be in that shape by the time they tell me to. That's, it's just sometimes it's a once in a lifetime thing. I know Robert Pattinson has his Twilight money. He's well off. He's an actor, and in certain circles, people love him. But like, you're gonna be Batman. That's people's dream. People love Batman. I love Batman. If they said to me, Jeff, you're going to play Batman in a movie, it'd be the best shape I could possibly be in. You could bounce quarters off my abs and shit. But like, I just don't know why he's not, why he's saying this. This is just kind of a dumb thing to say.
This is a very, very dumb thing to say. And I'm someone that's been pretty defensive of him up until this point.
Oh, right. It just goes back to what I said. It made a lot of us naysayers even more right, or maybe not 100% correct, but it's definitely reflecting that now.
You think it has to do with isolation sickness?
I just think it has to do with him being a lazy ass kid, punk, who don't want to fucking work out.
This is too hard. I want pizza.
Yeah. I'm not. Yeah, that's exactly it. I'm not kidding. He don't want to listen to his fucking trainer right now.
Well, if this, let's say he says he doesn't want to set a precedent. He might set a precedent, because if this is going to be, we might see the end of the superhero physiques in film, and that will actually hurt these movies, because the women go, look at, I'm not trying to tear anybody down, but like Jesse, I went and saw Jason Momoa in Aquaman. Or women go to see Chris Hemsworth and Thor. Sometimes they like the movie. Sometimes they just want to look at the guys. That's fine. But a studio's going to lose out on that if the new precedent is, they're going to be wimpy superheroes. Look, I love Michael Keaton Batman. That is my Batman 89 and Batman Begins are my two favorite. Well, Michael Keaton is not this big, physically imposing thing, but he's also from an era where that wasn't the norm. Moving forward,
sure, he still worked out though.
Well, Kumail Nanjiani worked out for this Eternals movie that's no one's going to care about.
He's ripped as fuck, man.
Yeah, great, but I mean, he looks stupid.
I'm sure Keaton worked out. His problem is, you're right, Jeff. He just has a small frame in general. But like script doctor said, even George Reeves and Adam West worked out. The difference was they didn't have the same kind of training back then they did in the 70s. That was, and I wasn't kidding when I said that was the revolution of the bodybuilding era, because that's where Schwarzenegger and Proust and all these other guys we were just talking about came out of, and they came up with different ways of building your body that you had never known of before, like shocking the muscles and other things that created the physique that was that basically that gladiator physique. That it was basically unobtainable unless you knew how to do it. And that's where these trainers come in, and they started teaching these guys how to get that superhero physique.
Yeah, I mean, like Jeff was saying with Michael Keane, like, you know, he's Mr. Mum, you know, he's a fairly scrawny guy, but that was more the norm back then. But now we're at the stage where it's Chris Hemsworth and Ben Affleck. You're like, well, this is how it's supposed to be.
Or
days.
even what's his face, Henry Cavill. Look at that motherfucker.
Henry Cavill, yeah, fucking oath, man. Yeah,
well, and it also isn't just superhero or genre stuff. It's also just a reflection of the time. I mean, if we go back into the 1980s and we look at what was considered, you know, like Michael J. Fox was a little guy. A lot of these Rob Lowe, all these guys that were, you know, Emilio Estevez, these guys that were these big deals, Charlie Sheen, they're all just little skinny dudes. You get into the 90s, you kind of have that runoff, but nowadays the muscular whatever, you know, you have people like The Rock and Henry Cavill and all these actors, and it kind of goes with the training, you know.
Lou Ferrigno, sorry, I should have said
Lou
that name too.
I was saying, it's like I can do a British accent and I also look like that. It's just kind of the standard these days for acting.
But again, think about who this is appealing to, the twihards who want that little slight kind of effeminate,
emo mother
kind of
Pando fucking Batman. I don't want Pando.
Look at Hugh Jackman.
But they do.
Hugh Jackman worked out for all those years, right? He eventually retired from the role because, you know, he was working out steady for what, 15, 20 years. I get that. Oh, yeah. He knew when the fans wanted to see Wolverine, we wanted to see someone jacked. I don't want the guy from Kate and Leopold.
Sorry, I'm not trying to be an ass to Rob. We're just arguing like brothers.
I know.
It's
Batman, more 357. Batman smoking cloves and listening to The Cure. Yeah, that's what they want.
Yeah.
I just don't feel like going out tonight, Alfred.
Crying to Depeche Mode.
Sir, Commissioner Gordon has sent up the bat signal.
I know, he keeps tweeting me.
Well, aren't you going to go out and patrol tonight?
The
city needs you, sir.
It's too hard.
Well, no one said this job was going to be easy.
But I'm not sparkly tonight.
That's what it's like, yeah.
It is. Yeah. This is a remnant, though, of a bygone era that we're really thankful. At least I'm thankful to be past. The Twilight era and all this other stuff. It's just, you know, it's done.
It's still here, Jeff. Raylos.
Mm-hmm. No, he'd be a fuck you, mom kid. He'd be like, no, fuck you, Alfred. I don't have to. You're not my dad.
Oh, certainly, sir. I am not your father.
Shut the fuck up.
However,
I'm playing Fortnite.
So yeah, I saw this and I thought of you guys and I thought, how dumb is this? Just, you know, shut up.
Extraordinarily dumb.
It's super dumb, and like I said, I'm excited. I don't want to say excited, but I'm looking forward to this movie. I'm looking forward to seeing it, and I think Robert Pattinson's been given a bit of unfair crap. I mean, this one, yeah, feel free to rip him apart, but you know, I can remember when, before The Dark Knight, Heath Ledger was the gay cowboy. That's all he was.
Right.
Eating pudding in black and white.
Say, Tom, do you have any pudding left? I ate all mine up, though.
I ate mine, silly.
Real quick, if you don't mind, I see a lot of names in the chat that I've been hanging out with for about 2 years now. My brothers and sisters in the chat, and one of them is Dr. Coffin Nails. Hail, brother. Good to see you again for another week of the High Council.
Yeah, he just his wife gave birth again. So congratulations, Doctor.
Oh,
Congratulations.
You know, it's something
another
he made,
random baby.
First fan I met in person from the Phantom Menace too.
Wow.
Yeah.
He's cool. I've met him 2 or 3 times now.
Wasn't he at the Millennium Bar thing we were at?
No.
Hail, Jay Robinson.
No, he wasn't. Okay.
No, if he was, I would have hung out with him because he lived close.
Okay, then I haven't met him yet. Then okay.
No, I met him at a Ghost concert.
Oh, okay.
Yep. That's the type of shit. Yeah, he brought us Halloween albums when he first met us at Horror Hound a couple years ago. So, yeah. By the way, congratulations, Dr. Coffin. I wasn't doxing you because that was something you told us public.
Oh, that's pretty cool. Congrats.
Yeah, brother.
Yeah. So, do me a favor, Tom, for just a second. I got to step away. Talk a little more about Bat Pat or whatever you guys want to cover. I'll be right back.
Well, Liesel, I mean, this is kind of you're the pro. I mean, I'm a DC fan. Don't get me wrong. I mean, you may get this, I'm sure from talking to me the few times we have, that I don't like DC or anything like that. No, actually, to the contrary, Superman is my favorite superhero, followed by Batman and the Ninja Turtles. So I mean, it's like that's my topmost of the popmost, and I love Ben Affleck as Batman was like a dream come true for me, but the rest of it it let me down. As a Superman fan, I don't see Superman in Man of Steel and all that kind of stuff. But here, I get where you're coming from. You are, one of the pro, people that has been, saying that, no, this is going to be good. This has potential, etc. like that, like you were saying. But this is sounds like one of the first times you've really been like, you don't feel like you're on board with this.
Because it was dumb as shit.
Well, that's one way of putting it.
Yeah, you're right. Like, overall, I am looking forward to seeing this movie, man. There's quite a few things that I've seen them, that we know about this movie that's really got me intrigued. And Robert Pattinson, like Stephen Walton was saying, he is a good actor. Like, no one bagged out Twilight harder than Robert Pattinson. Like, he outright said he was just there for money. Fair enough. He got his money, then he started doing all these crazy type roles. I do think that he is capable of playing a good younger Batman. And I always forget this guy's name, the guy directing it.
Matt Reeves.
Matt Reeves. I like most of his work as well. So I've got faith in him as well. I still think I'm probably gonna end up enjoying it, but like what he said, it was just dumb. Just dumb. But him being this dumb doesn't really take away my personal excite. I don't want to say excited. I'm not excited. I'm just looking forward to it. But him being dumb doesn't take away from that yet.
No, and I totally understand that. I do think that he's a good actor, and I think that he can pull off this role. Maybe if he works out a little. But I'm also interested in seeing Zoe Kravitz playing Catwoman. There's different actors that they've got in this movie that are interesting enough to me. And I'm a Batman fan anyway. I'm a DC fan at heart. So, have
you seen the screenshot that was leaked with what we think is a Riddler victim?
No.
It looked like something out of Saw.
Damn, really?
This guy was fucked up, man. He was just covered in bandages. And on the face, it was written, "No more lies" or something like that. See, stuff like that, I'm like, yeah, that's interesting.
I mean, they could ratchet up the psychosis on a few of the characters, and I wouldn't mind. They're, supposed to be arch criminals.
Yeah.
I'm just worried that, if this trend continues, if we keep getting, weak-looking superheroes, that eventually Superman's going to look like somebody from Poindexter from Avenger of the Nerds.
Oh,
I don't want to see that.
Exactly. Like, no, I agree with Tom. Like, Henry Cavill, I think his physique was like, bro, that's fucking Superman. And, of course, Ben Affleck as older Batman, who's just, how do you describe him? He's built like a German tank.
Yeah.
So like you put him.
That's my exact words. I believe it was. Well, not for him, but for Ben Affleck it was.
I like Ben Affleck. He's a fan of the character, So I liked Batfleck. I didn't have a problem with him. It was the how fast they tried to move everything along in the DC universe on screen that I had a problem with. They didn't take their time with it.
That's a fair criticism. Like, obviously, I'm a big fan of those movies.
Yeah, brother. I mean, me too. Me too. But I mean, I think I have fair criticisms. Doomsday was way too early. Come on, the Death of Superman storyline way too early. Bringing the Justice League together before we built up each character individually. I mean, you could do a movie with two of them possibly, but that's how they should have approached it. More of an Avenger style. I feel like they tried to rush it. The cast, I like the castings. I have no problem with the cast except for Ezra Miller. I don't like Ezra Miller.
Yeah, that was definitely.
Ezra Miller choke slamming that girl is like one of my favorite internet clips now. Yes. Oh, you want to fight?
You want to see my scars? I had a rough childhood. I don't know what my gender is. You want to see my fighting scars? Oh, now you want to fight? Oh my god.
Oh, that was brilliant, that man. I loved that. Did you end up seeing what's it called? The Way Back, where Ben Affleck plays the hardcore alcoholic. It's kind of like him playing himself.
No, I didn't see that.
It was the last movie I saw in the cinema before it all shut down. It's decent. It's not too bad. It's not too bad.
You know what I saw
Yeah,
last night? I watched Bloodfather with Mel Gibson. I hadn't really thought about looking at. That's a good movie. And the daughter, she I can't think of the actress' name. She plays oh god, she plays in The Boys, the young chick, the blonde. But he's like just basically someone from his age group dealing with alcoholism, and used to be a criminal, and he's not anymore, and she gets tied up in this stuff, and there's just a little bit of dialogue in the movie where you could tell she's woke. She's like a woke millennial, and she says that, and just his reactions to it are great. So a pretty decent movie. I haven't really, Mel Gibson got ostracized and we haven't seen too much of him, but that is a well acted film. It's also got Diego Luna in it, so if you want to see him get murked.
I've always been a fan of Mel Gibson. Maybe it's being
I love. Aren't you a little biased though? I was gonna say.
Yeah, I was gonna say that.
No, I thought he was done dirty. I mean, yeah, we all make mistakes, and he could have done a hell of a lot fucking worse. There's been people who have not been canceled who have done worse in Hollywood. So I mean, I think it's kind of it's just a sad thing that he hasn't. I hope Lethal Weapon 5 is a real thing and it happens and it kind of brings him back out again.
No, yeah, me too. You know what? If we didn't get Hugh Jackman, all right, he would have been a great Wolverine. A 90s Mel Gibson, I think, would have been a decent Wolverine.
I love Mel Gibson directing. Like Hacksaw Ridge, I thought was like one of the best war movies I'd seen in quite some time.
Yeah, dig it.
Yeah, Tom, have you ever seen Lethal Weapon 5 from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia?
No, but I remember people telling me about it. I need to get caught up on that show. That's one that a lot of people have been telling me about that I'd probably like. I've seen like episodes here and there, but I haven't seen that one.
Force your way through the first season, but then once you get to season 2, it's great.
But I think you were telling me a little bit about that one time before we brought it up, but Mel Gibson probably hates a lot of different religions.
Oh yeah, he expresses equality prejudice.
See, that's the thing is I don't know if he's so much racist as he's just anti-religious.
He's pretty big on Christianity.
Well, that's what I mean. He's like pretty hung up on it. But that's what like most people like. If they're so hung up in their religion, they're pretty biased against others. So it's like
I don't think that's equally.
Yeah, I don't think it's a racism thing so much as just
he doesn't discriminate.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't really think he gives a shit in the end of the day.
He doesn't give a fuck. I don't think he's ever given a fuck, to be honest. That's probably why I like him so much.
And I agree. Yeah, he should have been in Mad Max. That should have been his comeback movie.
Oh God, do not get me started on that trash movie.
Do you think that movie would have made $100 million more if he would have been in it?
Yeah. God,
I'll tell you what, people here would have sat through it if he was in it. Maybe.
Did people not like it in Australia?
We hated it. Everyone I talk to fucking hates that movie.
I've noticed all of a sudden, I mean, well, that's because some people have noticed, like, hey, wait a minute, this movie was woke. I mean, that's not fair to do to it, but if you knew it at the time and I was one of those, I was just kind of pissed. I'm like, Mad Max just became like a side piece of the whole movie.
He wasn't the central character in his own movie.
That was not Max. They Jake Skywalkered the shit out of him in that movie, man. We're talking about a guy that in Mad Max 2 could sit there and pick a lock while being tied to his own car. Right. But in this one, he gets strapped down and doesn't decide to do a runner until they start injecting or start extracting his blood. And then when he's got this thing attached to his face, he just scratches at it like an idiot.
Right.
And in the first 2 minutes, the car gets destroyed. Like, that's how the movie's supposed to end, not start. Oh, God, I hate that movie.
Well, and not only that, he would be somebody who would, like, he couldn't care less about their freedom or what the fuck was going on with their drama. As long as there was something in it for him, that was his character usually. It was like, by the time you hit Road Warrior, I mean, or In Your Country was Mad Max 2. At that point, he doesn't give a fuck about anything, really. It's all he wants is what he is his. And same thing with, that's why they didn't really, as much as people give Thunderdome shit, he's still pretty much the same character in that movie.
I agree. Thunderdome, I think, is okay. I think Thunderdome kind of did a Return of the Jedi and went too heavy with the Like Return of the Jedi had too many Ewoks. I think
It took advantage of the PG-13.
Yeah, exactly. Thunderdome had too many kids. I like Master Blaster.
Yeah, all the stuff in the town, and I don't even mind the kids so much. I mean, it's just the fact that, like you said, they tamed it down a little bit. That's my only complaint too, is they made it's a little bit too mainstream. But I still think that's a very good film. I think it gets a bad rap overall, and it still understood the character better than Fury Road was the point I was going to get to.
I didn't even mind.
Peter Turner.
Yeah, I didn't even mind her being in the movie.
Oh, I love her.
I love Tina.
We don't need another hero.
For the longest time, I didn't know that song was from that movie.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I've only
Even
seen
when it says "Beyond the Thunderdome."
You're such a millennial.
Dead giveaway there, but
well, you got to remember, I grew up with a mom who didn't really like movies too much. So
I know, but that movie was on TBS like every 20 minutes for a few years there. You know, kind of like Jaws was on TNT. All you had to do was go, "I want to watch Jaws," and then somebody at TNT heard that, and you just flipped it, and it was on for the longest time. Now it's Lord of the Rings, I think, but last time I had TV, it was like TNT would show the same movies over and over and over till ad nausea. And for the longest time, it was Jaws was on every 10 minutes, I swear.
well, as it should be.
Well, I'm not complaining, but, you know.
So let's see what the audience has been saying. So, folks, I'd like to thank each and every one of you for joining us tonight on the High Council. This is episode 101. So last week was our 100th episode spectacular, Tom and Mecca. We had Michael on, and I thought that was a good one to have episode 100.
Awesome.
I didn't even pay attention to that. I feel stupid now.
Somebody told me after, and I just was like, oh.
So we all missed it. Yay.
Yeah.
No, I don't feel so bad.
So let's see. Our friend Uncultured Barbarian says, I predict the Mandalorian will add a new character, or the Rancor King. Someone will burn down his Bantha house, and he will never financially recover from it. When that one came in, I muted it. I was like, Jesse, listen to this. And we were having a good laugh at it.
Will he get a debt offering?
Maybe. Disney will buy it. Mr. Wonderful, thank you very much. He says, season 2 ends on this note. Baby Yoda speaks, shocking everyone. Yoda played the fool in front of Luke. Sorry, Yoda played the fool in front of Luke, remember?
Hmm?
I never thought of it like that.
I've kind of had that in the back of my mind if he's more mature mentally than we've been shown. I mean, but I don't think too deep when it comes to Disney Star Wars. You know, I just consume. That's it. That's all it's about.
Ryan Kinnell of RK Outpost, thank you very much. He says, how many Star Wars fans even know the Mandalorian's name is Din Djarin? My bet is less than 50%. This was supposed to be about him, LOL. I couldn't remember his name because they said it in episode 8 of the show, and I was like, oh, that's his name, and then completely went back to calling him the Mandalorian.
I remember when that super chat came up, and I thought to myself, F you, Ryan, because he was right. I couldn't remember his name.
Ryan, we need to get you on here one week, dude. Culture Casino, thank you very much. He says, Disney bought Star Wars to get the boys. I've heard that before. And also with the Marvel stuff, they're trying to cater to the male audience because Disney Princesses makes a ton of money, but the boys were into other crap. Have you guys heard that before?
No.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Stone Cold.
Yeah, actually,
Kathleen Kennedy is an evil person. She lied to George Lucas about honoring the legacy of the characters. She makes the Wicked Witch of the West look like Mother Teresa.
Hail Stone Cold.
That's a harsh one. I dig it, though. Our friend Macy Van Dusen, thank you very much. He says, howdy, everybody, with a live long and prosper emoji and a globe.
Howdy.
Our friend Lethal Lightning, who has joined us, thank you, Lethal Lightning, he says, Filoni trashed the timeline and fans prior to Disney owned the franchise, and yet he gets praised. He made Mando soy and the retcon trash called The Clone Wars. So would you like to be the first person ever on this channel to discuss your own Super Chat?
That is just brilliant from start to end. 100% correct. Wow. Well spoken.
That guy's
very
stunning.
intelligent.
Brave.
Wow. Brilliant. Brilliant.
All right.
I call bullshit.
Grimjoy, thank you very much. He says, have any of you seen movie Gen 13? It's an animated movie with voice acting from Mark Hamill and Cloris Leachman. No, but I've read the comic. Has anyone here read or seen Gen 13?
No, I haven't.
No.
Any good?
It's like I think J. Scott Campbell is the artist. So it's kind of like one of those 90s sexy girl is a spy type of thing before it was crappy. So it was fun back then.
All right.
Yeah, but she was around for a while. Up next, we had our friend Macy Van Dusen says, so glad I didn't watch any of the Disney Star Wars films. Macy, you're lucky. I wish I was one of those select few people that did not.
Yeah, you did not have to worry about the nightmares. So, congratulations.
The horror.
I jumped out of the way. I haven't seen episode 9, and I probably never will, unless
Don't
it's on
do
TV or something.
Just read one of the books.
What did you say?
I said read one of the books. They retconned it a couple times since I know it's only been a few months.
I think they're still writing it.
It's the book that never ends, Tom.
It truly is the never-ending story.
That song got popular again because of Stranger Things. You remember that?
Good.
Turn around.
Go Big Boy or Go Home. Thank you very much for your generous super chat. He says, the problem with the Big Bang Theory is it led people to believe they were accurately showing nerd culture. They were parodying it.
It kind of started off somewhat accurate.
Right.
And then went downhill.
It's a completely different series in season 1 than it is in the last, after season 4, I think.
Well, they made the biggest
4, after season 3. Yeah.
Well, they made the biggest mistake of all in these shows,
Yeah,
and that is they put they let the guy have the girl. And even though that was what the show was predicated on, it was something that wasn't going to be able to drag itself out for so long, because that's the death nail in any of these shows, is when you have that tension is broken,
Mm-hmm.
and then now, but nobody cares anymore. And if you don't have something for them to move on to, then they just don't give a shit. And that also goes against the grain of everything about what the nerd culture is. Real nerd girls were like Mayim Bialik on the show. And then they went and took her to the extreme. And same thing with the other one, the ditzier blonde.
Oh, Amy, not Amy Fair. Yeah, Bernadette. Like when they first started introducing them, they were kind of closer to what nerd girls were. And then they became parodies. That's where I think, was it Steven who just said that? Or somebody did, or was it you, Jeff? So the super chat from our friend Go Big Boy.
Oh, somebody said it. Somebody said, yeah, that's when they did kind of become parodies of themselves in a way. And yeah, then the show became more about getting everybody hooked up with somebody. And that's not what nerd culture is usually all about. I mean, yeah, we give a shit. And yeah, that's like, Revenge of the Nerds. That's all nerds think about.
Well, not only that, they also segregated the guys from the chicks.
That's the other thing. Yes.
They decided just to turn into Friends, where all the chicks hung out in Penny's place and all the guys hung out with Sheldon and Leonard. And that wasn't how nerds.
Well, that was my big turnoff, is when my girlfriend at the time got into the show and she's like, oh, I like this. This is like Friends. And I'm like, oh, fuck.
Look, when real nerds find a nerd chick, they swarm. All right. And that they're not hanging out in another apartment. They're playing D&D with them. At least that's how I remember it. I don't know.
Anyway, my long rambling. I'm sorry about that. My point was it lost its way.
Oh, you're fine. But he does. Go Big Boy, Go Home also adds, real nerd culture is not TV, and a Sheldon is annoying as fuck in real life.
Oh, yes.
Well, yeah.
Our friend Culture Casino, thank you very much. He sends in a unicorn sticker. Matt G also sends in a unicorn sticker. Thank you very much.
Hail, guys.
Stone Cold Jeremy says, amen, Lethal Lightning. Karen Travis is the definitive author of all things Mandalorian.
Fucking oath. None of this Filoni crap.
Macy Van Dusen sends in a cheeseburger icon. Thank you very much, Macy. Joseph Bienowitz says, good evening. Hail the High Council. What's going on, everyone? Have a kick-ass show. Joseph, I think we have. What do you guys think?
I think it's been pretty good. We even had Michael in the chat, so I got to geek out for a minute.
He's a good dude. Just become friends with him. He's a nice guy.
I know. I chatted with him a little bit in DM, but I think he went to bed now because, he's got a life probably.
Dude, you had a lethal lightning on the High Council. This is kick ass.
I still maintain that. Sorry?
We're going to have to have you come back another time, too, when you can have you be here for the full show.
I would love it. I'm still kind of thinking, like, did Tom send the link to the wrong guy?
No, of course I didn't, sir. Of course I didn't. You're the lethal lightning.
Oh, thank you.
I give you hell for a reason. So if I didn't give you hell, that means I just don't really know you or like you. So.
Oh, now I'm blushing.
I may not agree with everything you say, just like Jeremy. I've said the same thing to him, but you're all right.
I'll take that. All right's
That's
a
right.
good start.
That's more than you get from most people. Rob gets fired all the time, so.
Oh.
Heck, I'd rather have Leela Lightning on than Tom.
See, me and Mecca hate each other. So
Tom's like Mr. Spacely. He fires me every episode. Cha-chun! You're fired.
get back in here. You're hired. I need you to set up a meeting with your wife and cook me dinner.
I used to love that show so much.
Mel Blanc, God bless him.
Yeah, bro.
So let's see. Up next, we have Bomb Shoes, who says the three paragraphs that Boba Fett and his super commandos were in the New Jedi Order books were far more badass than the Clone Wars or the Disney crap.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Mando, like EU Mandos, not even comparable to this new stuff.
Let's see. Macy Van Dusen also sends a hot dog emoji. Thank you very much. Hunter Grendel says, if Feige had been Michael Jordan, then Phase 4 will be considered his baseball phase.
Maybe. Let's hope not. Let's hope not, because he's got X-Men and he's got Fantastic Four, but from Steven's laughter, you may be right. I hope not, though.
Gene G has a message retracted, but thank you very much, Gene G. Mad Mardigan says, I've always been a big fan of Paul Scheer, but I watched his Marvel Comics show and he praised Miss Marvel Comics for its representation on the second episode. Legit made me sad. Unrelated, is your email worldclassbs@mail.com? Yes, it is. That is how you can contact the show. Kendo runs the email, and if it's important, not if it's important, but if you need to get in contact with one of us specifically, he will forward it to each one of us. But I didn't know about this Paul Scheer being on the Marvel show. I don't really think praising anything for representation makes for good entertainment, but that could just be me.
Would this be the Marvel show that's on their YouTube channel?
Probably the one we watched with Ethan last time.
Yeah. The moment I hear a virtue signal, I know it's probably crap.
Well, did you hear me the one time I was noticing and pointing out they had Kevin Smith on there and they had less viewers on the Marvel thing with Kevin Smith on it than Kevin Smith gets when he goes live on his shit?
Oh, wow.
That's embarrassing.
Isn't it?
That's kind of funny.
Actually, to be honest with you, they only had like 400 some viewers. It was really embarrassing.
Marvel had less viewers when they were doing some gameplay than I get when I'm just doing a shoot the shit singing stream or something. Like they only had 200 people in chat. Yeah.
No, Kevin wasn't crying this time.
I don't know. Never mind. We'll talk about Kevin Smith another night. Ham Sandwich, thank you very much. He says, he's not the Messiah. He's a very naughty boy. And to finish on Eric Idle singing, always look on the bright side of life. Absolutely awesome.
Always look on the bright side of life.
Perfect.
Life's a piece of
thank
shit.
you very much, Michael. He says, EU homework makes Zahn novels sex ed.
Oh,
EU
yeah.
Zahn novels sex ed.
Oh, yeah.
Hail, Michael.
Yes.
And
Hail,
consider me top of the class.
Loki Plays, thank you very much for generous super chat. He says, just a thought. Do you think they're setting up a Yuzon Vong ripoff reveal by having Space Aladdin and Beta Thrawn discover them via their Space Moby Dick Lost in Space misadventure?
Well, actually, sorry to interrupt. Do you mind if I go?
No, go ahead. Don't apologize at all.
Actually, because Timothy Zahn came back and did a new Thrawn trilogy, even though he said rebooting would be a total clusterfuck, and he was right. But he came back and he did a new Thrawn trilogy. I haven't read the third one because I checked out by then. But in the second one, Thrawn Alliances, they introduce a species called the Grisk, and it's essentially a Yuzan Vong ripoff. I highly doubt they will go full New Jedi Order and do like a massive Yuzon Vong invasion, but it's kind of open at the moment because they brought in the Grisk and it's basically Yuzon Vong, except nowhere near as intimidating, and it took away the whole biological aspect of it and all that kind of stuff.
What?
Yeah, I know. But it's weird because with the first Thrawn novel, the new Thrawn novel, I mean, they released a comic adaptation of it, but I was actually kind of interested to see the comic adaptation of Thrawn Alliances, which never happened, because then we'd get to see like an actual image of the Grisk to kind of put it next to a Yuzan Vong and compare them a bit. But yeah, it never happened, unfortunately. It's one thing they could have done that would have been pretty cool. But yeah, they kind of have a Yuzan Vong, but no, not really.
Well, anytime people know the EU better than I do, so yeah, definitely teach me what's going on, because I've read a handful of the books, so I know who the Yuzan Vong are, I know Thrawn and all that stuff, just never sat down to read it.
It'd be very difficult to pull off that with everything that they've done in the sequel trilogy.
Yeah, I don't see how you could. I mean, like the whole point of the Yuzan Vong invasion was, well, from like a storytelling point of view, it was like the perfect period to do it, because Star Wars needed a new enemy that wasn't just another Sith or Force user.
Right.
And then you had Luke, who was still developing his new Jedi Order. I mean, like the series is called New Jedi Order.
Mm-hmm.
But there are no Jedi anymore. So, like, honestly, if the Yuzan Vong rocked up to the Star Wars universe, the state that it's in, post Episode 9, it's over. It's a steamroll. Everyone's dead in the end.
Yeah.
Jedis are problematic and too misogynist.
Our friend Matt G sends in a pie sticker. Thank you very much, Matt G. I'll make sure I'll tell Ethan that I ate it. Just Nova says, is it fair to say studios started trying to save money after the recession?
Well, of course they are. I mean, or you mean, will they?
It's a difficult question, because you need to spend money to make money, and they're going to need to come out of this making money.
Here's the reason why we at Midnight's Edge stand behind the theaters aren't going anywhere anytime soon, at least not yet. And that's because, the money that's involved. $42 billion is nothing to sneeze at. And that's how much revenue movies brought in last year, and it was a record year.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, it's a big deal. I mean, even though attendance is on the way out, it's still their major source of revenue, and they're not going to change. That's been my whole point, is Hollywood doesn't change. They just keep spending more and more and more. They're not going to, I don't think they'll recess anything. The only thing that might change is they've got these movies.
Yeah.
Mecca knows what I'm talking about too. They're so desperate for attention right now that after this is over, I bet you a lot of them will take some really bad deals just so they have some decent work.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, that's the only thing. And I mean, not only that, the movie star has been a thing of the past lately anyway. Who was it that said, Rob, that Will Smith is the last true movie star?
Oh, I don't remember who said it, but
I think they're right.
Yeah, I mean,
Jeff, you know who it was, don't you? No, it was one of the studio producers, and I can't remember who it was.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, but I mean, if I would have to say the last true,
not Louis B. Was it Louis? Oh, William Goldman. That's who it was. Thank you, Script Doctor.
Hail, Script.
Yeah, William Goldman said that Will Smith was is going to be the last movie star, and I think he's right. That's the last guy you can really point at as far as like that was able to do what movie stars did, and you can't really bank on anybody anymore. Johnny Depp is not even considered a movie star anymore, really. That kind of a thing. You don't have your Schwarzeneggers. The Rock, maybe. The thing is with The Rock is he does great in ensemble movies, but he's only had a few random hits when he's by himself, like where he's the main star.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, his career started out with him as the main star. He's going to be the next Arnold Schwarzenegger. Even Arnold Schwarzenegger gives him the nod in the rundown.
Mm-hmm.
But then he did the Disney route, and then he did Get Smart, and then he really had a career revitalization with the Fast and Furious, and sadly G.I. Joe.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah,
it's all. But you're right. It's 100% right. It's all
ensemble.
That's what happens when you pass up on the Matrix.
And Keanu, well, he's been around since the 80s, so you can't use him as an example, or Tom Hanks even, because they've all been around since. That's the thing. The only true movie stars in quotations, but they're not. My point is you can't put them in a movie and bank on them. That's why studios have gone on this rampage of relying on reboots and franchises, because it used to be it didn't matter what the movie was. You just put Sylvester Stallone or Eddie Murphy or Arnold Schwarzenegger or
right.
Jamie Lee Curtis or what's her face who was in I just forgot about her name, Julia Roberts. People like that, Cameron Diaz, whoever, in the main starring role, and they sold the movie. You know what I mean? It wasn't the story itself per se. It was, oh, you get to see Arnold Schwarzenegger have a baby. Ha ha! That's the gimmick. Gotcha. That was how they sold the movie back then, more so.
Jake CB, thank you very much. He says, bonds are group ownership of a debt offering. Debt holders are issued bonds and profit from the interest on the chunks of the loan they own.
Thank you.
That is how the
There you
Disney
go.
breaks down.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, again, I like to
Thank
talk
you.
about the financial stuff. Definitely trying to learn more about it. But,
It's tough to get Andre because of the time, though. That's the only thing. We'd love to have him on for a council, though, I'm sure.
Hey, and we can do a special one if to make the time work. So I'm never opposed to having that guy on because his voice is cool and it's so weird to talk to him when I'm used to listening to the videos.
That would be an epic high council having Andre on.
Yeah, we can probably work something out. I'm sure at some point. Maybe with this whole thing, he can rearrange his sleep schedule a little bit or something. Maybe.
Mr. Meme says Boba is the sexiest Star Wars character.
Okay.
Who do you think the sexiest Star Wars character is?
Oh, Jaina Solo and Mara Jade.
Anybody else?
I mean, if you're looking at sexiest from the standpoint of sells a lot of toys and that kind of thing, oh yeah, he's definitely the, the Rolls Royce or whatever of the Star Wars, franchise.
I was just
in that
thinking of my
respect,
dong.
but sexiest, I'd probably go with Mara Jade. No, I'm going off of what you said though too, Lethal. That's who I'd pick. So,
I'm trying to think of an answer because I don't think Padme.
Yeah, I'm running with Amidala. I'm sorry.
if you want to go with live action,
Portman.
though, Princess Leia in the first film, though, she's pretty hot.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I'll go with Princess Leia from Empire.
And, well, even Jedi when she's in Carrie Fisher, she's
Carrie Fisher. Yeah, in the first one, yeah, that was.
and even in that nice slave Leia outfit,
Yeah.
Giggity.
Boag, thank you very much. He says, hey, again, One Punch Man live action. Opinions?
Oh, God, no.
What was that, Lethal? You're opposed to it?
Aren't we already getting that in Miss Marvel?
Do you guys remember Dragon Ball Evolution? I'm having some serious flashbacks with that one.
I saw it, sadly.
I don't know enough about One Punch Man to say yes or no.
Okay, just think of it like this: live action anime.
No.
No. Yeah,
No on any level.
Yeah.
they have a very, very, very bad track record.
I've had some arguments about anime that I'm not going to get into because we don't have the time for Jeff's,
Well, we'll have it another time because
it's more so just the basis. I have a hard time with anime being turned into live action because in and of itself, it's an art form. So I feel like it just doesn't transfer.
Right.
Because you're still animating it. It's always got to have some CGI element to it. So it's kind of an odd duck.
Coralie Stromboli, thank you very much. He says, I could commit suicide to remove the stains of my honor left by my mistakes, inactions, and losses. I will forever hate myself, so I wouldn't have to live with myself for 1 second longer. Well, I believe we've spoken to you before, Coralie, and I always say the same thing. Don't, talk to somebody, find somebody. Don't, make those rash decisions. I think there's a community out there, man. You can make a lot of friends and find people to talk to and hang out with. So
yeah, brother.
Well, that's kind of what the Fandom Menace is.
Yeah. I'm more about positivity stuff than I let on the channel. But yeah, there's definitely going to be people out here that can hang out, talk to you, and stuff like that. I know a couple listeners that have had similar things. So you're not alone in this.
Nope.
And, hopefully we're here for you to give you some entertainment, and you'll want to keep coming back week after week.
And the one thing I've learned is if you keep on trying, things will get better.
Amen.
Yeah, that's true.
You really are the minister of the Fandom Menace, sir.
Hail, Tom. Hail to the chat. Hail to that listener. And really, there's plenty of people around you. Just like Jeff said, there's a lot of people around you that have gone through things that you may be going through or may not have gone through. It might bring a different perspective, but you've always got to keep your head up. You always got to keep looking forward, find a reason to keep moving forward, keep breathing, keep taking the next step, because it's going to get easier and easier and easier. And there is a light at the end of the tunnel. Hail and best of luck.
Perfect. I'm not going to try to elaborate. Let's see, Joey Bryant, thank you very much. He says, I think Robert Pattinson got his roles mixed up. He's supposed to be Batman, not B negative from the New Mutants. The New Warriors.
That wins so far tonight,
That's
sir.
funny. That's fucking funny, man.
Great Loner says, I can't wait for this woke Batman. So the Dark Knight Rises detractors have to admit it. It wasn't as bad as they said it was.
The movie sucked. I will die on that hill. Dark Knight Rises, nah.
Damn,
Nah.
I'm not a fan of it.
I want to have you back on so we can have a Batman film debate.
Awesome. I'll wear my shirt.
Seriously, that's a take that I don't necessarily disagree with, but I don't know if I'd go that far. But we'll talk another time. Trust me. I want to have you back on.
It is in my bottom 3 or 4 too. Yeah, definitely.
We'll do like a Batman panel one night. You know, that'll be fun.
No. Yeah.
Ian Slater, thank you very much for both your super chats. I'm going to read them back to back. Thank you very much. He says, Theory, great. Now we're getting Bat Twig. It's another name for him. And he also says Theory. Pat Bat Gotham High tie-in? Maybe.
Oh, God.
I mean, I can't wait to not read that book.
He's not Asian enough.
No, Bruce Wang, as they called him in the chat.
That's right.
And then our friend Culture Casino sends in a unicorn super chat sticker. Thank you very much, Culture Casino. And finally, our friend Bomb Shoes. By the way, Bomb Shoes, it's weird. Every time I play Smash Brothers and there's Bomb Shoes that I use, because I don't play it that often, you pop up in the chat. So I guess I got to keep playing to keep you around. He says, the book cover for Legacy of the Force Sacrifice is peak Mara Jade.
I'd agree with that. Book 5, my favorite series, my favorite Star Wars story of all time. Legacy of the Force. Yep. Very controversial, that book. Very controversial.
What's controversial? Like, what is the takeaway that gets people talking about it?
Oh, it's a pretty big spoiler, and I know you said
Oh, okay. Well, okay,
Yeah.
cool. Then we won't do that. We'll just keep it a surprise for the people out there that want to be surprised.
Yeah, Razor Fist, we would love to have him on the High Council.
God fucking speed.
Yeah,
hasn't he already been on once?
I had him on my podcast twice.
Oh, okay.
There you go. Get him out here, man.
I'll ask him. I mean, I haven't reached out. I have to say he's one of the most gracious people to deal with, because every time you reach out to him, if he's available, he'll show up. And if he's not, he says, sorry, I'd love to come back. He's real cool. So he always responds. I'm always been a big fan of his work, but he's a cool dude underneath it all. So I'll start putting out feelers. And maybe since it's going to be 3 more months of quarantine for a lot of people, I'll try to get some super mega guests.
Thinking about that, and yeah, I've been trying to. Yeah, when you said that before too, I kind of did some thinking on that. So
every one of his videos, no matter what the topic is, he is on fire.
Always.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Even when he rips on stuff that I like, I still like the video.
Right.
So I think we've reached the end of the High Council for tonight. We've gone over 3 hours, folks, 3:16 to be exact. So Stone Cold Jeremy in the chat's probably frothing with excitement. But before we get out of here, Lethal Lightning, where can everyone find you on the internet?
Oh boy. Well, first I want to say thank you for having me on. This was great. Thank you for having me on. You'll find me on Twitter. I have a DMCA at the moment from Naughty Dog, because fuck Naughty Dog. And yeah, I'm on YouTube talking about comic book, video games, and movies. And I also upload to Gaming with Geeks, and that's the Geeks and Gamers gaming channel. So hope to see you all there. And, thank you. Thank you again, everyone. I'm still kind of shaking a little bit. Hey, Mom, I'm on the High Council.
It was, like I said, it was awesome to have you, and I definitely want to have you back anytime and definitely discuss that Batman film ranking.
Look, Jeff, with this whole comic cough going around, I have nothing else to do, man.
There you
go. Author Stephen Walton, where can everyone find you and your book?
You can find me on my channel, Author Stephen Walton. And for those of you who have backed the Fandom Menace Volume 1, I began shipping it out this week. So keep an eye out on the mail. The first group is out. Second group will be sent out probably early next week. I want to thank everybody for making this possible. I want to thank the High Council for making this possible. And something I wanted to mention earlier to that super chat about the person having a hard time. Listen, 2 years ago, your historian, your Fandom Menace historian was having a really rough time. Single father, bills collapsing, everything going wrong in my life. 2 years later, I am your Fandom Menace historian because of the great people on the High Council, because of Jeff Hicks, because of Midnight's Edge, because of all these great channels, Mecha Random 42, Hail Lord Doomcock, Nerdrotic, all of these wonderful people who have supported me by giving me escapism that the entertainment did not give us. By being there for us, these people have been the inspiration for the Fandom Menace volumes. And I want to say thank you to each and every one of them. I can't go through all the names because, you know, there's goddamn 50 to 100 of us out there. But hail to all of you in the chat, because if it wasn't for all of you in the chat with me, where your Fandom Menace historian was born, I would not have made this book. I would not be where I am today. So thank you, everybody in the chat. Hail the High Council. Hail the Fandom Menace. And subscribe if you would like to. And I hope to see you later. Wash your hands. Wash your ass. Be good to one another. Peace.
Amen, Brother Walton. That's right.
Tom, where can we find you on the internet?
You can find me at the altar of Brother Walton. Jesus Christ.
I know.
No, I love that man. That's why I brought him on tonight. You can find me on Midnight's Edge After Dark, hanging out here at the council, all kinds of crazy places. There's this crazy rumor that I don't sleep. The truth of the matter is I'm an android. But no, yeah, if you liked the stuff that you heard from Mecha, Rob, and we do that a few times a week. So check us out. On After Dark. It's a separate channel from Midnight's Edge. So
we're a comedy team and we don't necessarily hate each other.
Don't necessarily all the time.
I just tease it.
Mecha Random, where can everyone find you on the internet?
My channel, Mecha Random 42. I hang out with Rob and Tom on Midnight's Edge After Dark. I pop up from time to time in other people's streams. I lurk a lot of the time, and I might not chat. I might be gaming. I also do live streams randomly when I have time and feel up to it, because like a lot of us, we all kind of go through some stuff from time to time, so I can never tell like if I'm really going to be in the mood to stream, so I don't really pick a schedule usually, so I don't want to give you guys a shitty stream. So just the notification bell works great for that. I do Creepy Little Book when I can get over there. We talk about paranormal, occult, weird stuff, and where else? I'm everywhere. Twitter, Patreon, which I rarely use, Twitch, which I rarely use, everywhere.
Robot Shlomo, where can we find you on the internet?
You can find me just about all the places Tom mentioned. Midnight's Edge After Dark. You can find me on my own channel, Robot Shlomo, which I've been criminally neglecting. You can also find me turning up once in a while on Mecha Random streams. You can find me over at Shenanigans on the weekends with Mary Mayhem. You can find me just about, listen, you buy me a cup of coffee, make me a sandwich, I'll pretty much go wherever you want, okay? Just
he likes pastrami.
Yeah, I love, oh my god, now you're talking. Pastrami, sauerkraut, little brown mustard. Oh man, I'm there.
And before he goes to bed, he likes juice boxes.
Yes. Especially
just wine in them.
Yes.
If it's got wine in it, all the better. It helps you sleep.
I'm not a wine guy. I like mine with bourbon in them. So.
Folks, you can find me here on this channel. Obviously, I don't even need to promote myself because you found World Class Bullshitters, but I will have new videos out. We have all of a sudden become favorable with the algorithm, so we're up a lot of new subscribers. We're going to keep that momentum rolling with a lot of new content. Like I said, I got the book stuff taken care of, so I'm taking care of a few final things. I got my proofs in the mail today, so if you back that, you're getting a whole new graphic novel with new pages. That's going to be fun and exciting. And I'll be back with more content tomorrow. You can find me tomorrow night at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for not Good Evening Pop Culture, Fandom Menace Tonight. That's the name of the show. It's my own show. I can't even remember the damn name of it. But you know what? If you really want more of me, I'm going to go over to Mindless Entertainment with Jesse in like 5 minutes because we live in the same apartment and we have Drunk 3PO on there. So thank you, everyone, for joining us. I want to thank author Stephen Walton, as well as Mecha Random, Tom, Robot Shlomo, and of course, Lethal Lightning. It's been a great show. And you know what we're going to do? We're going to rip out a page from one of our favorite YouTubers and say, this is the High Council. God fucking speed.
Hail the chat.